Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, as always, it's my co host, Tom. Hey, what's up, Tom?
Hello, friends. How are you?
I never got to ask you, Tom, did you watch the show with Gareth?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Where he had the Photoshop of your background and then was sitting in front of it. That was truly amazing. Like, the dude's a comedy genius. I don't know what else to say.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yes, indeed. Do you know the rest of the quote?
No.
Okay, well, I won't insult Gareth, but the rest of the quote would not, you're not saying something kind to him, is what I will say. But at any rate, today we're going to talk about the new General's Handbook. Now, I understand that also we could talk about Battle Scroll stuff, all that's there. I honestly haven't had a chance to get into all of it because it was like, it dropped today, then it didn't drop today, then it did, and it was back and all nonsense. So, like, we're going to do it next week because I'm not one for immediate first reactions to stuff. I want to provide thoughtful commentary on things, and I've had the GHB for a little while. So I want to give us a little while to actually get into the points and those other kinds of things, and then we'll go from there. But we are going to be deep diving battle plans, new battle tactics, new rules, all of that stuff today. Okay. So get ready. It's going to be a big show. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to do all the normal things today. Okay. Because frankly, I just want to get straight into this GHB. But I am going to start off with some announcements as we're getting in here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is like, call it pseudo news. Is that okay, Tom? Pseudo news. That's what this is. Okay. So first things first.
Can we talk about the beautiful IDK model? Or we're not?
Sure. You want to talk about that? That's fine. Yeah, go for it.
Man, I love that new, like, the new incarnate sea monster thing.
Oh, the manifestation, you mean?
Yeah. Well, like, yes, but in the article they called it an incarnate. I don't know what that means, but
I don't know what that means either. I mean, I assume it's just like a small incarnate in one of their manifestations you can run around, because incarnates aren't special anymore. They don't have to be something alone.
I know. I'm aware. It makes me wonder if there's only one endless spell in that spell lore.
And then, maybe like all three pieces of it are the, like, yeah, that's the whole thing.
That is the whole thing, is what I'm thinking, that there's only one manifestation in their lore, and it is an incarnate.
I think that's probably right. I think there's a second incarnate that was never released, and I just want to know if we're ever going to see it in any form.
Well, it was like a spider or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, allegedly it was like a spider or something. Yes.
Right. Which makes me sad because I like spiders.
It was probably like a rock spider, right? Or something like that. Like, it wouldn't have been a normal spider.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. The other thing was like that we got the named character hero, and like who seems very similar to the other two heroes, probably either all built from the same kit or very similar.
Yep.
I don't know that IDK has like 7 actual units. I'm not sure that 3 more foot heroes is what they actually needed, like 7 non-hero units.
It's clearly the Fire Slayer formula.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And the trajectory that they're on is just losing clothing. So they're going to be short stunties here, soon enough.
Well, they are underwater, so you would think less clothing. I mean, I only wear swim trunks when I go in the water. So what do you wear? I mean, do you get all dressed up in armor to go swimming? That's just logical, right there.
But they're raiding out of the water.
I understand.
Onto mainland.
Be a heck of a lot cooler if they just came out with their swim trunks. Just cowabunga. Cowabunga it is. Let's go.
The Speedo squad.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the GHB, but here, anyways, yes. So the IDK thing. Here's some new here's some other pseudo news. First off, here you go. What's this, Tom? Why, it's Rain and Iron. It's our newest, Uncle Adam and I's newest book, released this last Friday. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can find the link for it down in the description. It is the standalone sequel to Reign in Hell. Standalone. You don't need to have played Reign in Hell to play this. It's a fully self-contained game. Some more cool art of robots fighting demons on the back there. And that is, in fact, what it is. The demons have escaped hell, and they returned to Earth hungry for souls, only to find there was no humans left. Only AI robots left in their place. And so now the demons wage a war to figure out what happened to the humans and take over the earth while the robots try desperately to defend it. So yeah,
you know
it's
what's
go for it.
you know what's tougher than balancing an all melee game, Vince?
Balancing a game where one side of it is all melee and one side of it's all range.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you did a good job. It's very balanced in how it
That
plays.
it's a pain. I'm just letting you know that.
Well, I'm sorry your
Like
job was hard, Tom.
like
Complain for this guy who took the job. Like, I'm a good developer. Well, here's a challenging thing to develop. Oh, it's so hard.
it is hard.
You know how we
It
make
is
you know how
hard.
we constantly lambast GW for not getting things right, and now you're here complaining?
Yeah, but again, yes, but it's like saying one army is KO.
Yeah,
All other armies are corn demons.
sure. You're getting a visit from the dogs here, apparently.
I
A
can
very
tell.
loud dog. No, Aspen, enough.
Canines
So
of chaos.
excited. So excited.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Hello, dear. How you doing?
Good. How
Good
are
to see
you?
you. Good.
It's Tom.
It is Tom. Yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Everybody hit like for the dogs coming in and interrupting the show as usual. That's fine. Absolutely.
You don't like that I come in and interrupt the show?
I don't mind you. I just mind this dog that won't shut up. That's all that I mind.
Well, she is my dog for a reason.
It's loud and piercing.
Stop. Oh my God. All right, I'll take them upstairs.
Okay. I love you, dear.
Love you too.
I love those dogs, but yeah, she barks when she comes down here because she thinks that Kathy's going to leave her down here. That's what she's afraid of. So at any rate, yeah, hit like for dogs. Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's a challenge, but it plays pretty well. If you go watch the battle report, by the way, everything linked down below, you can find all the information, like a battle report and a little play example and stuff like that. It's like the battle report came out so balanced. And by the way, that was just the first shot, me playing a straight game. Like, there's nothing special. I didn't edit anything. I didn't re-roll anything. And that's most of the games that I played leading up to it. They're all, like, it is a pretty balanced experience, which I love. It's very back and forth. But yeah, you can make your demon cabal or your robot host. Lots of customization. There's a full campaign. It is solo, co-op, and skirmish mode, so you can play however you like and intermingle there and continue to expand your forces and build your guys up, customize them throughout the campaign, and so on and so forth. All the scenarios, which are variable and what exactly how the scenario plays out, everything's in here, as well as a continuing ongoing series of 3 narrative scenarios to if you want to continue the story. Somebody asked, why would the demons even fight if there are no souls left? Because they don't believe the robots. When the robots say there's no humans left. And they've lusted to get back to Earth for a long time. They're not about to let these little weird silicone bots stop them from their goals. They're demons, after all. They lie. So why wouldn't these things lie? Also, they
Which
figured out they
shows
can get charge off the robots. Go ahead.
Which demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of robots
I-
and programming.
I mean, you never know. But at any rate, check it out. It's only $11 for the PDF and $17 for the PDF plus book. Everything's linked down there. That's Pseudo News number 1. All right, Pseudo News number 2. Tomorrow, I am flying to Minneapolis to see Scott and John. We're going to record some stuff. And then this weekend, I will be in Wisconsin for TMX, the Tabletop Minions Expo in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. There are still a few spots left for painting classes there with myself. Sam Lenz is also teaching, as well as our buddy Raven, so we got a lot of cool classes on offer. There's still a few seats left. If you're anywhere near Oshkosh, or, like in that greater sort of Wisconsin, Chicagoland, Minnesota area or anything, and you want to come up for a fun weekend and take some painting classes, you can go check that out. Links for the classes are down in the description. Hey, Andre, well, we appreciate you dropping in with a like. Thank you very much. And then last bit of news from around the Vince universe here. Tom, this podcast is fun. I enjoy doing it. We talk about Age of Sigmar. It's a great time. But you know what we don't get to talk about every week, Tom?
Magic.
Well, that is true. We do talk about magic. What are we saying? Of course we talk about magic. But there's another interest I have that we don't get to talk about very much, and that is role-playing games. And down below in the description, you will find the link to Fireball the Gazebo, which is Ninjon and myself's new podcast coming out next week. Episode 1 drops next week, folks. It's our RPG podcast talking all about role-playing games, D&D, and everything in the role-playing game world space. We're gonna have some deep discussions. Tom will show up at some point, I'm sure.
Why do you persist on cheating on me?
Yes.
First it was with Uncle Adam, and now it's with Ninja.
Well, it was with Travis before that for the RPG podcast.
And it was with Travis. I clearly I am just a glutton for infidelity.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, clearly. No comments. So at any rate, yeah, Fireball the Gazebo. It's the new RPG podcast. We've already got a couple episodes in the tank. First one will release Tuesday, June 10th. That's what Tuesday is, right? It's 10th. I think so. That sounds right.
Mhm.
Today's the 4th. So yeah, that's how math works. You can find the channel linked below. Hey, subscribe up now. We'd appreciate it. You know, throw some subscribers, some subscribees there. What's it cost you? Absolutely nothing. You can find the link down there in the description. It's right down there. Fireball the Gazebo. It's also on all the socials. You can just look up Fireball the Gazebo and give us a follow on Insta, Twitter, those kinds of places. So, but we will continue to expand that universe, the Fireball the Gazebo universe. And we're gonna it's gonna be spicy, Tom. That's all I'm gonna say. I got some spicy RPG opinions.
Well, you know that I clearly have thoughts.
Absolutely. I'm gonna bring we're gonna bring both positivity, advice, and spiciness. It's gonna be like a delicious meal, right? We'll have all your good appetizer, spicy main course, delicious dessert, all in one every week or every other week. We don't know how often it's going to come out yet. So probably it'll be every week to start and then every other week after that. So get used to it, I guess. Okay. At any rate, there you go. That's news from around there. Also, just don't forget the newest episode of Snarlcast, which, yes, as you mentioned, the other podcast I cheat on you with Uncle Adam. The newest episode of Snarlcast is up now, talking all about Rain and Iron. If you want the director's DVD behind the scenes commentary, you can find that also linked right down there. There's so many things in the links for you to explore. Oh my God, it's crazy. You can just be listening to my awful voice all night. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely we'll get Halo at some point in time, Cody, for sure. Like, there's so many friends in the RPG space that I eventually want to have on here, as well as other people and creators, because I actually know a lot of RPG creators and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll do some interviews with other folks around there eventually too. So, but check it out. Throw us a sub. We'd really appreciate it. It's cool. It helps. All right. I think we've covered all the Vince Cinematic Universe news here, as well as that. Tom, anything else you want to talk about before we get to the main GHB to get into the meat of this thing?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. We'll talk Shadow. We have Cygen. We already talk about Shadow Dark. I don't know that I really care about RPG rivalries, by the by. Like, what I mean by that is the battle of like, this game is better than this game, I find to be a pedantic conversation. I think Shadow Dark is pretty cool. I think D&D is pretty cool. I think about 100 role-playing games are pretty cool, and I want to share why I think they're pretty cool, right? So we're gonna like, with that kind of stuff, we'll just celebrate all the different games. So there you go. All right, Tom, new GHB. Here we are. We're here. General's Handbook 2025-26. It's here. It's now. The GHB is now. Let's I'm gonna go to my summary and then I want your high level thoughts. Whoa. Here is my summary. This season is going to feel completely different than the last one. Okay.
Yep.
And I do not think people have internalized from the quick read they've had of stuff exactly how different this will feel.
Oh, I have.
Yeah. Some people have. I think a lot of people haven't. Prospectors as a concept are dead, but at the same time,
I mean,
there is
some battle tactics.
Well, hold on. But at the same time, like, that traditional way prospectors operated, right, is dead. But there is more pressure to have MSU, chaff, and, like, potentially, depending on your tactic choices, a much higher unit count, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to piling all into singular units, you want more spread. Again, battle
Yeah.
tactic dependent, but that's where a lot of them lead. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Like in almost every build, I've had to like in every battle tactic constellation, right? Because not every set of tactics is going to go with every army. But for
Mhm.
those, as I've tried to build them, you always have like 3 to 4 units dedicated to doing tactics, maybe 2 to 3 units.
That
That's
sounds
probably
about right.
safer to
Yeah.
do. Like 2 to 3 units doing tactics, doing the thing, and then the others are having to play the rest of the game,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you're still dealing with like 5 and 6 objective scenarios, right? Obviously, there are some that are smaller than that, but like there's still a significant number of scenario things.
Yes. And I mean, to be fair, you can double dip sometimes depending on the tactics chosen. Like you can have a hammer unit that could also be completing some of the tactics depending on exactly what's going on.
But
We'll talk
but
about it when we get to the tactics. But yes.
if my pushback to that, because I was talking with lists with Martin Orlando, and he was like he had some units that were essentially doing double duty. And the problem with that, like I understand the logic of that. Oh, I have this hammer that's also going to be a scoring unit for scouts or whatever. Here's the problem. Hammers have to go where hammers have to go.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And so they can't you can't rely on them to do tactics.
Yeah, sort of. It depends. We'll talk about it. I have
Yeah.
mixed opinions. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
So I've gotten like 5 games in with the new GHB. Okay. So
Yeah.
I have a little bit of experience.
Sure.
The fact that I've played 5 games on this GHB means I've already played more than the average player of AOS will play on this GHB before the end of the year. Right?
Sure.
I don't mean any insult by that. I just mean like the average player just doesn't like it's just that's not what it is.
Yeah.
When if you're talking true average. That's not offense, just people's lives are busy. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Terrain
3-hour game.
Yeah, and it's a 3-hour game. Yeah, exactly. I think terrain will be more impactful. That's reality.
Yep.
We'll talk about that when we get to the rules changes. I think castle type shooting armies, like you want to sit in a spot and kind of slowly inch forward and shoot out of your castle. That's just like a dead concept in this edition. I don't know how that works.
I would push back on that. I think that there's
Okay.
probably a build in there that does castle well.
I'll be interested to hear your take on that because you have to have a lot of mobility. Like maybe, but all right.
No. Like I think that like if you can spare the 3 units for scouts, you can still run a castle because you're
Okay. That's an
your
interesting
castle.
principle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe there's
like
particular armies that could do it.
yeah, I think there are. I like and I can talk about like because there's some armies that I was building that I realized that I was like, oh, I can do this battle tactic. I can devote 500 points to only doing battle tactics, and it frees up the rest of my army. Then the question is like, how do you incentivize people to not attack your scout units?
Sure.
And the answer is you incentivize your people to not attack your scout units by creating a larger threat. And
Yeah,
you
that's
do
fair.
that by doing like a long reach castle in the middle with yummy, tasty archers, right? Or like
sure,
like something that's going to draw people
cannon stuff like that.
Castle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe,
Yep.
absolutely. Ninjon's here. Everybody shout out Ninjon. He's there in the comments. John, how come did you not do the channel thingy? You have to go click the button in your channel so you get your little check mark. How come you don't have your check mark? Your channel's bigger than mine. I have a check mark.
He's not authorized.
Yeah, exactly. Like John, do the check mark thing in the admin stuff. It's not that hard. That way you can have the cool little extra check mark next to your name. He wants to be part of the proletariat. He's a man of the people. Ninjon. John, we talked about it. Fireball, Gazebo. There you go. Link down below. Throw them subs out. John and I talking about RPGs. All right. Here's what I'll say. Maybe Skaven, maybe Cities, maybe a couple others. But like, I'm not sure everybody who could castle shoot can still do it now. Let me say, is that a fair statement?
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that completely.
Yep. All right. Okay. I think the battle plans are clean. I think they're super clean. They're so easy to understand. Like I like spoiler, I like most of these battle plans. I think the only weakness in them is some of the underdog stuff is too strong. Otherwise, I think the battle plans are designed really well.
Some of the table stuff is weird, right? Like only playing on half the table.
Oh, I love it. I really love the design of this year. We'll talk about it when we get there because we're going to review all the battle plans. But I think these are really good battle plans. Okay. Here's maybe I've said this and I think you agree with me. maybe this is a controversial statement some people wouldn't agree with, but here we go. Skill will matter more in this iteration, in like 4 point whatever that we're going to call this, okay, than ever, than in the history of this game. An average player against a good player, like, I can say that a different way. A player who just built the list they want to play versus a player who tooled their list to their battle tactics starts down 20 points.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like, my normal game is against somebody who's better than me. That's reality. Okay. Like, Brendan is who I play the most often. There are other people in my group who I play against, but Brendan is who I play the most often, Lord of Death. And he's a really good player, right? I mean, like, he was on the US team or whatever at a point, so on and so forth. And I am constantly punished. And like, in our games, I literally at one point said, I wish I was a better Warhammer player. Because, like, he saw a line and took it, and I was like, oh my God, how did I not see that line?
Does he ever apologize to you?
No.
I'm sorry about what I'm about to do to you.
No. That's not the vibe. Like, do the thing. We're playing games here.
Yeah. Of course.
So there's nothing on the line. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
The last week we went 1-1, which I felt pretty good about. And I'll talk about actually one of the interesting things that happened when we get into like battle tactics and how I won that game. Even though, like, I spent most of the game losing, but still won that game because of decisions I made. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, we already mentioned it, but yes, battle tactics will be very impactful on list building. And I agree, Kuhal. Like, there is some armies that are just gonna be on the struggle bus when it comes to battle tactics, right? And have to pick a couple things that it's just like, well, I guess these two are the best. Like, if you're playing Sons of Behemoth, good luck, I guess. I mean, you'll still win 2 games at any tournament. That's nice.
No, like, I don't know. Okay. We can talk about it.
Sure.
Like, I think that I can think of a tactic that I think that they would do fairly well with.
I mean, they have 1.5, maybe 1.25. That's stupid. They have 1 1/3. There you go. That would be the correct way to say it now.
Fascinating. 1 1/3. That is a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is, right? Now, again, they'll still get like, they'll still win 2 games in any tournament they go to, because you'll play other people who also haven't tailored their list to the battle tactics, and you're still like really good at standing on circles.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, it's just you're going to move from like the top of the fat middle right now to the bottom. Like, that's what's going to happen overall.
I mean, I have to ask, like, you don't think that they can do a tune to Giron?
We'll get to him. I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Don't get ahead. Nobody's going to know what you're talking about. They're like, our viewers right now are like, what's a tune to Giron? We haven't seen that yet, Tom. That's information we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
When we get to the tactics, we'll talk about any other high level stuff. Like, I do like list building. Certain armies, obviously, we know these are going to be inequitously distributed. That's not surprising. List building, I cannot state. Like, it is a meteoric dinosaur extinction level of impact on deep impact.
But what I'll say is this:
list building.
Yes, but
okay,
like, because we have 6 different options, right?
Yeah.
Because we have 6 different options, like, you can choose your poison. Like, there is a sense in which, like, you can choose where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before, everybody was having to take, like, there's a certain cookie cutter, a certain shape, like a cookie shape out of a cookie cutter that everybody had to fit into.
Yes,
right?
I agree.
Just some armies just couldn't do that, right? Now, it's which of these 6 cookie shapes do you fit the best into?
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's just when you're building your list, your unit choices are going to be highly determinative by battle tactics.
Right. But you at least have 6 different ways you can build now instead of 1.
That's fair. I mean,
right? Like it is, but and so it's a both and. It is both. No, I agree with you. It is both. It is highly determinative,
yeah,
but also we also have more options than we've ever had for list building.
right. Haroon, that is really not true. The points for armies and units are determined by them trying to figure out what's going to make the best game state. I can tell you that with 100% certainty. Like they're not thinking about the business 99% of the time when they create points, right? When like things are pointed to make the best play environment. Like that is simply true. Like Matt Rose cares so deeply about this. The amount of granularity and playtesting that even a 10-point change goes through and discussion and stuff like that. I am very familiar with the process. It's not that. Like they as a business make decisions about like, release stuff and things like that, certainly at a like what they think will sell level. But they are like the way the scrolls are written, the way that the points are done, that is absolutely done by people with a deep passion for the game who are trying to make the best play environment. That's what it comes down to. Like, period. People who aren't thinking about like they're not thinking about the bottom line at that moment. They're just like, what's going to make this better?
But let me affirm that like some armies will struggle with the 6 battle tactics. There just aren't good options, i.e., Sons of Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like that does exist,
Yes.
right? But that's an easy fix, right? In the sense that you can always just add more battle tactics
Yes.
in the future.
Sure. Then why the 20 points for some spells and not others? Because those were the always taken ones. Everything that had a pick rate of above a certain percentage, and I don't know what that percentage is the ones that got pointed to put more pressure on list building overall so that people couldn't play to 2000 and then have the most powerful default choice. They're trying to encourage diversity in the list building. So they did that in 2 ways. First, through the Scourge of Gyran by introducing more options that don't cost any points. And second, by putting a cost on the things that all the ones that were all got the points were all the ones that that had a pick rate that was like, over, for example, like 80% or something like that, because it was so determinative that it needed something to bring. Now you have its balanced choices is you have to weigh something else when picking it.
No That's one why. Is ever taking any other item but the silver wand in Lumineth.
Right. And so it's like, well, then if you're going to do that, if that's going to be the de facto, then it has a points value assigned to it. And it puts pressure, it puts downward pressure on other units you can include. Right.
Yep.
Chris H, is this the same team or philosophy as used by 40K? I have no insight into the 40K studio, unfortunately. I don't. It's a different team. The AOS design team, Matt Rose and his folks are completely different human beings.
Designer, right?
Yeah,
led by a different designer.
Yeah, Stu is the head of the 40K studio. I can tell you that, but I don't know any of them or their process. So yep. There you go. That's why.
Kuhal, it's way easier to tack points onto something than to change in errata rules that are printed in places.
Yeah, I mean that's always the decision, right? They're worried about messing up books. So yep. Okay. No, I don't agree with that. I think they should just fix the rules. But again, the way they decided to do that, like this was actually so. Like you have to understand, the reason we got Scourge of Gyran is because there is downward pressure from leadership not to change printed books too much because it will confuse players. So they said, okay, what if we just put new content out? That's not changing a book. What if we just gave 3 new options and we tried to make 3 new interesting options? That's why Scourge of Gyran exists, like fundamentally, which is great. That's them problem solving while still, being around. We just got 30 days of like free content that added tons of good options to basically every army. So there you go. Okay. Rules changes. We begin, Tom. We begin. We'll start with sort of the flat stuff. The rules changes. And I agree, Gray Boy. I do think this season's looking pretty good. I am actually pretty stoked. I will say, here's the other spoiler that I didn't say is I actually find these battle tactics so much less stress than the old battle tactic model. It's still not exactly how I'd like it, Tom. In my perfect world, honestly, we'd only pick 1 card. And you'd have to complete the 3 over the course of the game.
Yep.
Picking the second card is what makes me not like it. Because now I'm still worrying about too much crap. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
So we're better, but still room to improve. Okay.
Yeah.
Rules changes. Here we go. All right. This one's already come up a little bit, but it's worth discussing. All out attack and all out defense, right?
Yep.
All out attack now +1 to hit, but -1 to save for the rest of the turn. And all out defense +1 to save, but only against the attack that targeted it.
Which is huge. Which is huge.
Yes. Now, what do you think about these? I'll just let you go. Opine on these two changes, Tom.
Yeah. The all out attack is super painful. And so the decision to use all out attack is going to have to be way more strategic than it was previously. Before it was need more damage, hit the button harder, right? Like hit like all out attack. And now you're going to look at that and have to opt like, am I worried about the reprisal of punchback or other combats this unit is in or stuff?
Yeah,
like
may
that.
I give you my decision tree? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
3 options. Triage. Am I going to completely will hitting the all out attack button make me obliterate the enemy unit?
Yep.
Then still do it. Is this unit dead on the crackback anyway? So I might as well try to get as much damage out of them as possible. Like this is the in my games I've played so far. I found this with rat ogres. I'm like, they're going in. They're on a 5-up save. They don't have their ward. I just care if they tear this thing down. They just need to kill the thing. But there's like 3 units in combat with them. They're dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
they're dead anyways.
They're dead on a 5-up. They're dead on a 6-up. I do not care. It's irrelevant. Let's go. Punch that whopper button. Okay.
Yeah.
And then third scenario is neither of the above are true. You don't all out attack, which sucks for destruction. Like for destruction in general, all of your plus all of your 4-ups to hit.
Yep.
It just means that you've got to find that stuff that adds +1s to hit now, which a lot of it did get added in the Scourge of Gyran stuff. They passed it around a decent amount, but that became super high value, all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It makes me wonder. Yeah, I just don't know how some armies are going to do it.
Yeah, I think destruction's hit the worst by this. I will say, by the way, this is still completely good for a powerful shooting unit, ironically. Now, shooting has its own, this all-out attack change. Let's mark it. Let's keep an imaginary tally here, Tom. You ready?
Sure.
This is shooting. Over here, good side. Stuff that that is better for shooting. Over here, bad side. Things that are worse for shooting. You with me? Okay.
Yeah.
That's 1 in the pro column. Yes? Because the shooting unit probably doesn't have any reprisal coming at it. So, who cares? Oh, no, I'm -1 to save with my 0% chance to being attacked.
So, question. If you all out assault and for both shooting and melee, are you -2 to save in combat?
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah. Because negatives don't
even though it's the same ability? It's the same ability, the same named ability.
It's a good FAQ. I don't know. Yeah, probably it's the same named ability. I need to go look. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Yes, obviously there is a assistant ref. There is an error in covering fire. It says your shooting phase. Obviously, it is not your shooting phase. It's obviously enemy shooting phase. I'm sure be corrected.
Spend a command point and have limited options and -1 to hit, or not spend a command point and just use the core rule.
Yeah, I'm quite sure in the first FAQ that will say enemy shooting phase. And I'm sure this is the kind of error that I've somebody pointed out in just as a quick aside, Tom, somebody pointed out in Rain and Iron, there was a table where it said the word demon and it was supposed to say the word robot. It's just one word that was wrong that I didn't catch and stuff like that. Just, it gets under your skin. It's like needles, right? And I'm like, God, did I miss that? One word, your versus enemy, right?
I used to send you those corrections robustly and you're like, you can't edit everything. You can't make a perfect document, Tom.
Yeah.
But
it's good
to me all the time.
It's true. Although I
GW,
still
you can't make a perfect document.
And they have many more editors than we do.
Yep.
At any rate, I think the all-out defense thing is also big. You're right. It does incentivize, it puts a lot more power on any kind of multi-attack scenario. It is in a very weak way making a incentive towards having more units so you can attack with more as opposed to Death Stars.
As an aside, this is another incentive in the shooting category.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Okay. Because before, if I have a shooting heavy army and I go to shoot an enemy, there's normally one person that all of my shots are going at. Concentrate fire, lift threats, stuff like that. And before they'd be like all out defense, and
Yeah.
you try to like play the game of like bait them out and
Sure, of
see
course.
if they can trigger it on the wrong thing and then shoot something else. Now it doesn't matter. They
Yeah.
they have to figure what they're going to all out defense against, regardless of what profiles are coming out of that turn.
Agreed.
Right.
I do agree. Yep. So okay.
So that is a boon towards shooting.
Agreed. All right. So those are big changes. And in my experience, I will say it does change how you use them. Like in the game so far, I used them less. That's what it came down to. Like straight up. So okay. Next.
Yep. Command points are worth way more than that.
Right. Yeah. Here I just I have the note about battle tactics and the battle tactics overview. We will talk about battle tactics in detail, but obviously they have completely changed in that you now have these 6 cards, as we mentioned. As part of list building, you will choose 2 of them. You have to do them in order: affray, then strike, then domination. And at the end of turn, you can complete basically up to 2 different, like 1 on each card. Is what I should say, not 2. You complete 1 on each card. So you can complete 2 total, but no more than 1 on any given card. The other notable thing to mention here is a change is that, and when you seize the initiative, you can do so freely and take the double turn only if your opponent is in the lead by 11 or more victory points, which sounds like a lot, but it isn't actually very hard. Let me sketch out the scenario here for you, Tom. You ready? I'll just make this real simple. We'll see this in the battle plans, but I'll just talk about it now generically. If you've tailored your list to be able to do both of your battle tactics in turn 1, right?
Yep.
Then you are given the first turn, like you're given the top of 1. There are many maps, not all, but many maps where you can have 10 points off of the objectives and 10 points off of the your battle tactics because you complete the affray of both of them. So you have a 20-point first turn. If your opponent then goes and on a lot of these maps just has the hold 1, hold 2 effectively, right? They will get 8 points. Okay. Which is the most common sort of math. The most common math throughout all the battle plans is 5-3-2. Right?
Yep.
And that will mean they are down
by
by 12 and can then double turn you into 2. Right?
Yep.
Without penalty. So
unless they are a certain battle tactic.
Yes, that is true. There is a certain battle tactic that will still have a penalty to it. Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Now, I will say at the same time, that might not be the bad choice. Okay. So in the game I mentioned earlier, I actually had a 20-point first turn and held my opponent to 11. Okay. But I did it in a game where I had more drops. So I had the reroll on priority, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was more confident about pulling that. I didn't end up needing it that round. Like priority, the roll just worked out that it remained the same. Right. And I was able to then go first in round 2. And what I was able to do is just basically keep him from getting more than 8. Right. Like I kept him off his tactics long enough that then as I was like scoring 8 or 10 and he was scoring 8, it just became impossible to catch up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I was able to sort of jump out to a big enough lead with the plan to hold and have the reroll as like an emergency, oh crap, to stop him from getting the double on me. So it can still be a potential you can exploit, although you have to be careful because yes, you could jump to 20 and then somebody could just double you 1 into 2 with a big hammer army and just smash you off the table. That could also happen. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Z Clone just asked a question and it's wonderful. It'll probably need
Does the -1 to save from all out attack not affect Night Haunt? It does not. They are ethereal. They do not suffer penalties to save. They still all out attack for free. It's good to be a ghost. Don't know what to tell you. It's just what it is. It's good to be a ghost. And Hades, it's not intentional. It is an error. The your shooting phase thing, it's an error. It's meant to be enemy shooting phase. I'm not saying, I'm not stating that as a question. I am stating that as a fact. Okay. That's, yeah, it's interesting. The battle tactics needs to be good. We're going to go through the battle tactics cards, obviously, in detail, but big
Yep.
changes.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, here we have, I brought this page in, Tom, because of the manifestation cleanup. So we now have these new cleaned up rules for manifestations, and we have this all manifestations area. Manifestations, the move characteristic of dash, and move manifestations of the characteristic greater than dash. Okay. So do you like this change? It's not like phase dependent in a weird way really anymore. It's just more stating the abilities, right? Like, do you find this cleaner? Do you think this will help people understand manifestations?
Maybe. My question is like that manifestations don't zone out setups now, though, right?
They do if they have a move characteristic greater than dash, which is not a
Units for
number. You
purposes of
technically can't be
movement,
greater than.
combat range, being in combat, setting up terrain features, other so it would be in the
Manifestations
setting
and
up
other units. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
they tried to get the setting up freaking anything, right? Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I tend assistant ref. I don't think you're totally off. My answer is these are better. Like good. Like this is an improvement, no doubt. But this is still the most confusing part of the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would place a bet like 60% of judge calls and clarifications are manifestation questions.
I believe that. I believe that.
So that's tough. But other than that, there you go. Okay. That is amazing, Hades. I love that. That's what it should say. That's what it should say. Thomas said, hey, question, Tom. Is this GHB helping with your enjoyment of list building and general game experience?
Yes.
I assume that plus the Scourge of Gyran has done some good stuff for you by just adding options and making list building a little more challenging and a thoughtful experiment.
Well, the key is the battle tactics is what makes list building interesting because the permutations of battle tactics together and then how that interfaces with list building. Yes.
Yep.
Because before everybody was streamlining towards a single performance.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody needed to have their two skirmishy or their two prospectors. Everybody needed to have like so many hammers in order to weather the storm, right, of other hammers.
Yep.
And yeah, like it was just like it was a linear math problem rather than a quadratic one.
No, I agree. I'm cooking up a really weird Skaven list. I just want you to know that, Tom. That's like
I'm excited.
Completely based around like this weird skirmishy teleporty thing you can do with the new tactics, plus the Scourge of Gyran rules that are there. Like it is a weird list that's just like redeploying 3 times in its turn and like double claw steps and skitter leaping all over the place. It's like my entire army is just moving constantly.
Yep.
So
Germ said, my fear is that people will just spam efficient hammers. That's the world we're coming out of, not the world we're going into.
Yeah.
Efficient hammers will not get you your battle tactics. And it doesn't matter how efficient your hammers are. Anyways, I could go on. We'll talk about that in the battle tactics section. Yeah.
We will. That being said, I think there is still, that list didn't completely die. I think if you've got like the best hammers in the game, you'll still be like, you just tabling your opponent is still a completely valid path. And you can just be like, now at a tournament, if they're doing things like counting number of completed battle tactics, there are some battle tactics, depending on what your choices are, you need to align carefully so that you can like, because you might just be stuck not actually completing them unless the tournament's just like giving you credit for completing them, but that's just not always going to be possible given what some of them are, right? Like if you take the one where where the second part is retreat with 2 units and charge with 2 units, and you just table your opponent and you're still on the affray, okay, you don't complete any more of those battle tactics. That's it. You don't get that. Like there's no way we can just give you those points. Right. And a big part of tournament Warhammer is often about using battle tactics as a separator, like how many you completed, right? It factors into scoring. Now, but that being said, yes, I think there is still a line that's just like hammer, smash, done, right? Like, I think that still absolutely can be a thing. The question will be, does the MSU incentive and like movie dippy dodgy units become so prevalent because of the battle tactics that your hammer just can't get there because you can't catch everybody?
And there are some things that you are never going to catch, even with the best hammers.
Sure. Because they're just, you know,
They're
like completely skippy dippy teleporty nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like doesn't matter how good your Vanguard are, they can't make 72-inch charge.
Yeah. That's right. They're fast, not that fast. Not 72 inches fast.
Right.
Okay. Next up. Here on the magic page, by the way, I appreciate that they like actually put in more real spells and prayers as opposed to the fake ones that they did last time when they had everybody was like, oh, the whatever it's called still
Arcane
exists.
Bolt.
Arcane Bolt and
Shield.
Mystic Shield still exists. Yeah. And then those just do
Resurrection. Resurrection exists.
Yeah, sir, not appearing in this edition outside of Spearhead or whatever. At any rate.
Is Sacred Rites new?
Yes, correct. That's the new thing on this page.
Yeah.
The new thing I actually want to talk about. Look, we all know what you're doing. You pray off turn. When you have priests, you just pray off turn. Right?
Yeah. Correct. You need those points. Got to get those points.
Got to get those points. And what you were doing was just picking any random prayer, usually the one with your highest prayer value because it didn't matter, and just being like, I pray for this thing. Oh, I didn't get it. I banked the prayer points. Okay, next. Keep going. Like, because I'm just trying to put money in the bank, right? Now you have this new like generic prayer you can use that's all about just putting prayer points in the bank. And it's nice because its failure condition also only removes 1 ritual point instead of D3. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. It's a nice little Benny for clerics.
Yep.
Or priest.
Yeah. By the way, Threnodist, I agree. Abhorrent Gore Warden rules. That guy rocks. In the new edition, my God, he's so good. Anyways, okay. I had a very funny game. I don't remember if it was the last game of the old edition or first game in the new GHB. I think it was in the new GHB, Tom, where that Gore Warden, yeah, because it was definitely with the Scourge of Gyran rules. And so it's that new Gore Warden, and he like popped around behind me, and he was just kind of hanging out. And I had a Plague Claw back there. So Plague Claw is like 2 shots, 3s and 2s, rend 1, d6 damage, right?
Yep.
And I was like, which is meant to like go fight infantry, right? To shoot at infantry, but he was just standing alone back there. So I was like, okay, I'll covering fire. I'll covering fire with this stupid thing. So it's 4s and 2s. And I hit him twice and wounded him twice, and he failed both saves. And he has like 7 health, and I did 6 damage. And suddenly he was like, well, not charging anybody now. Because old boy wasn't sure that 1 wound wouldn't sneak through in the clutch there. That was just like a miracle set of rolls, but it was hilarious. That's why I love that Plague Claw. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say foot heroes are viable? Depends on
what you're doing.
Depends on what you're doing, what your army is, and which foot heroes we're talking about. In some armies, yes, very much so. In Skaven, yeah, 100%. You're gonna have foot heroes everywhere, all over the place. In like a lot of other armies, it kind of depends. It's puts and takes. Okay. Okay. Boop boop. Let's see. Activate place of power as well as the terrain changes. Here's the page for this. This is obviously some big stuff. Okay. So activate place of power is completely different. And this is relevant now, Tom, because I'm sure you looked at the battle plans and saw that there are like places of power just everywhere. Like every map has like 4 of them. They're just all over the place now.
Okay? Now they're a liability.
Yeah, they're just like constant, right? Which is interesting. So you can pick a friendly hero within 3 inches of a place of power to use this ability, then pick that place of power to be the target. Start of any turn. Yes.
So this is obviously triggering a reminder. This is triggering before, like in the hero phase.
Before the hero phase, yes.
Yeah, before the hero phase, this is being triggered.
Yeah, that's right. So, like, again, maintain your good phase habits. Like, the best thing I can say is when
Yeah.
you're playing this game is you say, okay, I'm going to use my start of turn abilities. I have completed start of turn abilities to you. All right, my hero phase abilities, I've completed them. Hero phase abilities to you. And you just keep doing that back and forth. Okay. The Screaming Bell absolutely rules Morgonk. I agree. That thing is fire, especially with its ability to act as a null hole now. So more teleporty targets. It's great.
Mhm.
Anyways, place of power. What do? You pick one of the following effects. So roll a die. On a 1, inflict 1 mortal damage on each unit, friendly and enemy, within 6 inches of any place of power. Okay. And as I said, there's a lot of these scattered around the board.
Feels like I'm playing on holy tables now.
Yeah, it's just like this will hit a lot of stuff. Like it just will.
Bombs
you can't
are
avoid
going
these
off.
stupid things.
Yes.
And then on a 3+, you heal 2 each unit, friendly and enemy, wholly within 6 inches of the target. So the number of times, oops, sorry, I mean to bump the mic. The number of times this has healed both the person I've watched this happen, even in just like 5 games so far. The number of times this has incidentally healed enemy units while you're healing the hero who's trying to get the heal. It's every time. It just happens. Right. So that's funny. Obviously, rolling a 2 is just like nothing happens. Okay, fine. It's option 1. Option 2, rapid sprouting. Pick a gyrenate objective or visible terrain feature within 12 inches of that hero and roll a die. On a 3+, that objective or terrain feature has the obscuring ability for the rest of the battle. Very strong, given what obscuring does, which is just like, block shooting if you don't have the fly or monster keywords and so on. So pretty strong. And then tap the ley lines for the rest of the turn. If that hero is not a wizard or priest, they can use the unbind or banish manifestation ability as if they had wizard 1. So there you go. What do you think of the new activate place of power?
It's fine. Like I will occasionally do it, but I don't think I'm doing it every turn.
Sure.
I mean, like maybe.
I mean, I think it never. Here's what I'll say: if you're not running shooting, okay, and you have heroes standing around it, it's generally not a bad thing to go for the tap the ley line, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no roll. You just do it and get an unbind.
You just do it. Yeah, it's just a thing. Like it just gives you an extra banish or unbind, right? So like, why not?
Yeah.
Right. There's you can't hurt yourself anymore.
To not be wizards.
You just have to not be a wizard or priest. If you've got a guy standing there who qualifies, there's kind of no reason not to do it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
If you're not running a shooting army, you can also just like rapid sprouting. I mean, if they don't have shooting either, then like who cares? Like there are situations you'll get into where it's like, okay, cool, we made more stuff obscuring for nobody, right? Yep. But if they have shooting and you really don't, it's pretty beneficial to make something obscuring.
Sure.
The fact that you can just like make an objective is pretty nice.
Yep.
If you're Night Haunt, sorry, you always get shot at. That's your downside for being an all-fly army. No obscuring for you. Get out of here. Which, yes, that's the other notable change is obscuring, just blocking, the shooting completely for non-fly, non-monster stuff, as long as everybody is within an inch of the thing. The whole unit has to be within an inch of the thing. And a lot of terrain is obscuring. That's what it comes down to. Like, obstacles aren't, but, like, the places of power are. Area terrain is. Obscuring terrain is, obviously. A lot of faction terrain is. So,
Yep.
A lot of obscuring hanging on the board. I think of, like, NashCon tables. Oh, boy. There is going to be some big blocking of shooting. So this would be the first one we put in the category real strong over here in the big hit to shooting, right?
Yep.
Can you tap multiple places of power in the start of a turn? No, once per turn army.
It says once per turn army.
Yeah. Okay. Assistant Ref, Catacross going Predator mode, standing 3.1 inches directly in front of some long strikes and still being invisible. It's true. Okay. So big change. Like that's obviously a big change. All right, Tom. That was most of the big rules changes. I mean, it wasn't anything like that huge, but it's there. It's going to be impactful on games. Don't get me wrong. I do think that the shooting thing is meaningful, and what it means is that like static shooting, like an artillery piece that moves 3 inches but has a long range, much lower value than a shooting piece that can move like 9 inches or 10 inches or something like that and still shoot. Right. So, for example, like the ogre cannon is better than the Skaven cannon or whatever, as just an example, even though they're basically the same range, right? But one can move 9 inches and one can move 3. It just makes it a lot easier for you to drive around and get a target resolution on something that's valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it is. Area terrain is really strong. We didn't even mention, obviously, that also there's a negative to hit there from the other element, which is the cover, right? 100%.
Yep.
Okay. Battle tactics. Let's get into it. We got 6 cards here, Tom. Okay.
Yep.
We begin.
A reminder: you will choose 2 of these when you build an army.
Yes, when you build your list, you will choose 2 of these. You ideally would like to choose 2 of them that you think you have a reasonable chance of completing all 3. They do get progressively harder, a lot harder in some of these cases. Like with some of these, the third element is just like, well, that's impossible against half the armies in the game. Like that is as a suicide pick. And we'll talk about those when we get there. Like some of these, the third one is just crazy. Okay. Master the paths.
Like, I would push back on that, and I think that generally you need to plan on completing 4 of the 6.
That's reasonable. Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm saying ideally you want to try to have all 6. Right?
Of course.
Sure. Yeah. But yes, it's what we always used to talk about with the holy events, right? Like there's so many different competing objectives. You don't ideally we get all of them, but we plan on doing like 3 of the 4 or whatever, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Again, like germ table the opponent won't always get you there.
Yeah. If you accomplish 4 of the 6, you will be well on your way. Is the point.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I haven't completed more than like I think I got 4 one time. The other 4 games were like 3 or 2. Yeah. Okay, but I wasn't building my list to do them, right? I was just like I took a list and then picked the tactics, just like I built the list. So you really do feel it. Okay.
Yeah.
Master the paths. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if an enemy hero has been destroyed this battle. Skip already. I don't even need to read the rest of this card. I'm not doing this.
Okay.
Like, seriously. Okay. Let me explain why.
Do you not think that you can kill a hero by turn 3?
No. I don't want to be under that kind of pressure. To then have to be like 3, 4, 5 to nail him exactly. I want something that at least is feasible for me to do in turn 1. Okay? Because I don't want to be in the position. If you're in the position where on turn 3 you finally get your affray, you are now under the gun for the rest of the game, and you will play a worse turn 4 and 5 if the game is even going that long. Like, there's often not even a turn 4 and 5 in this game. Let's be real. Okay? You are suddenly way under the gun.
Well, like, if you wipe them by turn 3, then you auto-complete 4 and 5 of this.
Sure. Yes. Absolutely.
Like the way that it's worded, like assuming you have enough units, 3 different units that can get to the corners.
Sure. And like, assuming you have the units in the movement, this is a doable one on the wipe. That's right.
Yes. Right.
This one could complete out with them having 0 units on the table.
This feasibly, if you are highly offensive, like, and I think that's how I want to talk about these, is what types of armies take these things. Right? Because it's like, I understand, Vince, you being like, nope, never going to take it. But some armies will do well with this. For example, if you're going to win by turn 3, then this is a good one for you.
No, that's fair. The hard hammer list, that is aiming to table the opponent. This is a good choice.
Yep. Right. This one and one we'll talk about here, in a very common one we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes.
That's right. And I agree with that. I will say though, this is not one you take lightly unless like you don't just put this into some list with like some normal combat plan. Like you have to be a hard hammer list
Right.
to get this
Right.
because um because the strike and the domination almost require your opponent to be tabled to complete.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Right? Like doing the strike um while they have units on the table is crazy.
Yeah, it's very easy for them to screw you over with a redeploy.
A
On
redeploy,
strike.
a teleport, 100 weird things that could
Well,
happen.
there's not a lot of teleports in the enemy phases anymore. There are a couple, but most of them actually
There
never
are a
work.
couple. Or say
Yeah.
like, sure, okay, off turn, I will cast Skitter Leap, which is a very low to cast spell, and I will Skitter Leap something over into the corner. There
Sure.
goes your battle tactic.
And
The Gore
that
Warden is there,
unbindable.
and he
Yep.
teleports away. His is
Yep.
not, right? Like, my point is this stuff exists and just shuts you down, right?
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
It's not every army, but any
Yep.
army can redeploy. And if they're like hanging by the edge of the space and they can
Right.
just
a smart
in
player will definitely do that. Yeah.
or countercharge you, right? Or something
Yep.
like that. Like there's plenty of
Yep.
ways they could move. Okay. This
Yep.
is the tactic you take when you have a hard hammer army looking to absolutely ruffle stomp the enemy off the table. Because if they have units present, this becomes very difficult.
Yeah. For the record, Gore Warden is your movement phase only.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's fine. I thought he was enemy as well.
Yeah. No, most of them that were both have been removed or have been eroded.
Yeah, but I thought he was the one that came back to be enemy. But that's fine. Okay. Are you sure? The soggy Gore Warden?
Oh, I'm talking about the normal Gore Warden.
No, I'm talking about the soggy Gore Warden.
Got it.
I'm pretty sure he's enemy. Yeah. Either way, I agree. Anybody else who you think would want this thing?
No, I mean this is the oops all hammers battle tactic.
Yeah, my fear with this, I'll lay this out too. My fear with this is you could pretty easily run up to an enemy army that can just hold you to never completing even the affray. Because they have two fairly mobile, little, easy to hide foot heroes that sit under guarded hero the whole time and just like leave. Can just like leave. You know, there's a couple of Skaven armies I built like this, where like I'll jump in a null hole, I'll teleport away, I'll like through Skitter Leap or whatever, and they're just like gone.
Yeah.
And you will not get my heroes ever.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I think that there are some like you can play around that with some armies is all I'm going to say. Like I think that there are some things that ignore guarded hero. There are some, like those things exist and but I agree with you in general, like it's a trap. Like this is actually going to be way harder to accomplish than most people anticipate.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I just don't buy this as like a shooting one either. Because you think, well, if I have the shooting stuff, if they have non-guarded heroes, right? Like people I can target anytime, I can easily get the affray. But if you're like a heavy shooting army, the strike and the domination are really hard.
Yeah. The Gore Warden is end of the enemy turn.
There you go. The
soggy one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's your worst nightmare for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So at any rate, there we go. Haroon said KO might be able to handle these. The problem is I think damage. Like they could get to the place. I just think they're not going to be able to keep enemies out of their territory. That's the issue.
Right. Correct. They'd have to lift the enemy like all.
And that's just not happening given current KO shooting.
Right. I agree with that.
Especially not with all this new obscuring stuff going on. Like they're going to be able to hide so much of their army.
Yep.
Okay. Number 2. Restless energy. Pure energy. All right. So you complete this battle tactic at the end of the affray. At the end of your turn, if you control an objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your turn. Okay. Great. Very nice. Very doable.
Really? You like this better than kill a hero? Because to me, you can't complete this turn 1. Unless you can alpha across the table and take the objective and hammer an enemy off of objective at the top of 1.
Balloons. That would be a celebration. Right.
Yeah,
no, but I do think this one's very doable in turn 2. Or
I agree.
Potentially, by the way, this is doable in turn 1 if you know you're going second.
Yeah, like if they're gonna, yeah, maybe.
If you stay low drops, so we'll talk about army types once we get through it. But like I
Yeah,
think that certain army archetypes could be interested in this. Okay,
sure.
at any rate. The strike is invasive species. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective within enemy territory. If there are no objectives within enemy territory, you complete this tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective that was controlled by your opponent at the start of your turn. Okay, we can
That's
probably
so
stop.
tough.
We can probably stop reading. And then all roots entwined. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective on the battlefield. Who's taking this? Who's taking this card, Tom? Like, legit question. Who is this for?
I don't know. I don't know who the objective masters are that are taking this, unless maybe giants. Because giants that do well standing on circles, and this is about standing on circles.
It is. This is the third of the 1 1/3, by the by. Okay.
Yeah, the 1/3, yes.
Yes,
They
because
can
like
take an objective from the enemy.
absolutely. The affray on this is just like in the tank for giants. Mark those 5 points down, baby. You got them. Okay. Done
I'm gonna
and
just
dusted.
Tokyo drift onto this objective. That's mine now.
Right?
Yes, but giants in general are going to struggle with the latter two.
Sure. This one, what do you think about this one being the another potential like hammer army one? I think that the second one is challenging, but possible. Okay. It would be like, I think this is harder for the hammer army, but possible.
This is really good for Sylvaneth,
Okay.
or a hyper teleporty army that's going to force them to actually sit on circles.
Do you ever get the strike then? Or are you just using it to control their play pattern?
What I'm saying is you're going to use it to control their play pattern, and then at some point by turn 3, you will get it, right? I think that's the play pattern is either like if you have a hypermobility army, you can force them to sit on objectives in order to try to deny it for you. But here's the reality: if they want to play and not stretch out their army, they have to come off those circles, and when they do, you will auto, like if you have 3 units dedicated to teleporting, right?
Yeah.
You will complete this. You just will. Like, you're going to camp those against your back objective. When you take those off, I'm going to take your objectives.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're choosing to leave those units on. You're only going to play with some portion of your army, and it's probably going to be less than the portion of army I'm not playing with.
Sure. I'll be honest, I don't think this one's going to be a very popular pick. I think it's really
I agree
hard.
with you. I agree. Like, what it requires is as an enemy to have a bunch of cheap teleporting units.
Sure.
Like, that's what this requires.
Maybe.
And
every objective is hard. That's the issue. Like, it again,
I agree.
there are some maps where there's only 1 in enemy territory. Okay.
Yep.
And so that's nice, but they can still hold that fairly strongly and stop you from it. And then that last one, again, feels like one where you have to have like really just beat the living pants off your opponent.
Do you know why I would never take this one, to be very clear?
Go for it.
Let me find out. Where is it? It is 2 words.
Okay.
The life roots.
Okay. That battle plan?
Yeah. Because there's only two total objectives. Your enemy only has 1 objective.
Right.
You are never getting that objective, let alone doing the rest of these.
Unless you just straight up table them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to the win more all hammer strategy. But again, I think they have a better choice. So like, I think this one might be in the contest for like just the worst one. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Next up, intercept and recover. All right.
Sure.
This is going to be picked in like default 40 to 50% of lists. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the
Half
one
of-
you have to think the least about.
Half of all lists, or half of all battle tactics sections, will be this.
Yeah, that's right. Haroon, no, there's no objective destruction. If you mean by the armies, stuff like that. No. Okay.
You can kick the objectives with giants.
Yes, the giant can move. If you use the normal, if you use the dry Kraken Eater instead of the soggy Kraken Eater, you can move the objective.
Yep.
Okay. At the start of the battle, your opponent must pick 3 of their units on the battlefield to be carrying Gyronate treasure. They cannot pick faction terrain features or manifestations. A unit can only carry 1 Gyronite treasure. If your opponent has fewer than 3 units on the battlefield, you automatically complete a number of these battle tactics, starting with the domination battle tactic, followed by strike, and then the affray, until the number of remaining uncompleted battle tactics equals the number of enemy units on the battlefield. So if your opponent null deploys and you have this in your list, congratulations, you get 15 points. Correct.
You start the game with 15 points before anybody does anything.
Pretty good. Your opponent is going to be ready to go underdog hard. They are ready for the double. Now, if you went second in the previous battle round and chose to go first in the current battle round, i.e., if you double your turn your opponent can remove 1 Gyronite treasure from one of their units at the start of the battle round. So a little anti-double turn incentivization
And
there.
not only that, let me point out to you that it doesn't matter if you were the underdog.
That's right. Yes, this is a separate rule. This isn't referencing back to the underdog mechanic. Yes, that's right.
Right.
So even if you're free to seize, you still lose the treasure.
Correct. You're still going to lose 5 points max out off of this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is heavily punishing if you ever want to double.
That's right. Now, we're very used to this sort of thing, Tom, because Steve at the Holy Events has had effectively this in one of the games we play every year for 10 years, where you've got to split up the little tokens and we're very
and go hunt them down. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you know how hard this can actually be.
Now everyone else gets to play that game.
Right.
And let me just tell you, if you are just going to default to intercept and recover, that's a mistake.
Yeah, that's right.
Because in 3 to 4 of your games, you're going to be fine, right? It'll be fine. But in 1 to 2 of those games, there will be units you will never catch.
Right. They're just impossible to catch.
They will never be able to be targeted and caught, because smart players who are playing the meta, which is 50% of the opponents will have this battle tactic, and they will, because it's easy. It's low mental energy, right?
It's just, you put the treasures, I have to go get the gold. It's easy. This is sort of like by the way, what list this work for is quite generic. Like, your goal is to generally go kill your opponent. This puts little tokens on your opponent. I get a little Benny when I kill them. And so, yes, the problem is exactly what you say. Keep going.
Is that smart opponents who will build their lists where you will never be able to touch these units.
Or at least 2 out of the 3 of them.
Or at least 2 out of the 3. So a great example. Anybody that chooses scouts will likely have units you are not touching.
Right. Correct. That's right.
So, whether they be Huracan foxes, right? Yeah. Or they be Wind Chargers, or River Dancers, or River Blades, or whatever, right, from Lumineth, or whether they be other teleporty bullshit units. They will exist, and you will, as soon as you roll up to the table, you will look at the list and go, oh.
That's right.
Because you know where the crystals are going, and you know that you can't catch them.
Hold on 1 second here. Assistant ref, I would hold off on that belief, as I'm not sure that's true. Okay. That you don't have to, that you can choose not to score it. I don't think that will actually be true in the long run. I would pay attention to FAQs on that one, probably.
Yeah. Or Gore Warden. Gore Warden's a great example of that. If they don't want you to catch Gore Warden, you will not catch Gore Warden.
That's right. That's right. And whatever. Again, Skaven will keep it out of your hands forever and ever and ever, right? They'll put it on Night Runners and move around and 3 claw steps and teleport them through gnaw holes.
Yeah.
Exactly. They'll have like one on a hero that can skitter leap and one on a group of night runners that just like goes and runs, like grabs an objective and then just literally runs in the corner and then jumps in a hole, right? Like, and then teleports to
Right.
the other corner.
Right. Like, it will just be a nightmare. I'm warning you. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you think that this is easy, you like, and to be fair, in 3 out of your 5 games, it will be easy.
Sure.
Like, I need you to hear that. Like, most opponents won't have the tools or the forethought to prepare their units in such a way that they will nullify treasures.
Yes.
But games 4 and 5, you probably will, at real events, you will be facing down opponents who will just laugh at you.
I have played with this one twice, like both against it, and so I'm the one assigning the gold, and I have played with it once. Okay, and I think the most treasures ever gotten off of the opponent was 2, and most of the time, and then the other 2 times it was 2, 1, 0. The first time it was 2, then once we kind of figured out it was 1, and then the next game it was 0.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we were
like,
playing like Sylvaneth and Skaven and stuff like that, and just forget it. Forget it. You're just not getting it. You're not picking these treasures up, right? Like Sylvaneth's another great example of an army that it's like if they don't want you to get the treasures, you don't get the treasures. Especially now that they have the option to like teleport every hero every round and strike and fade.
This is what I was saying. Like, Steve learned, at his events that these rules you have to steal if you want people to be able to accomplish getting the Benny, getting the treasure, getting the crystal. You have to remove fly and you have to remove teleport.
Right.
Because otherwise, if they can reset up or if they can fly long distances, you're never going to catch them.
That's right.
You're just not, because they're going to like come up to a train, and when you get close to them, they're going to fly on the other side of the train. So a single move for them is like 2 turns of movement for your unit.
Yeah. Agreed. Yep. So I think this will be chosen a lot, and I think people will normally get about 5 points out of it. That's what I think will happen.
Yes. I could imagine Iron Jaws, the Ardboy blocks.
Oh, sure. That's a good example.
Of like, sure, cool. You want these crystals? Come get them.
Yeah, 40 wounds on a 3-up, 6-up, or 5-up, depending on the battle.
5-up, yeah, right. Yeah, because you'd run the one guy. Yeah, and you're like, come on in. And Hendrik, you can shoot flyers, but flyers right now are like shooting is actually being de-incentivized in this.
Yeah, right now I think that it's very much like there's more against shooting than there is in favor of it. Yes.
And you have obscuring terrain. You can't shoot across terrain.
You can shoot flyers
all terrain. Oh, that's true. You can shoot flyers across terrain. Unless it's Sephiroth, who can't be shot.
Sure. Sephiroth, you mean? Not the bad guy from Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, not Sephiroth. Severith. Yes.
Right. Different game. Different game happening. A different thing happening this week. 2 different games, I guess. Technically. Yeah, I think this one will be chosen all the time. It is very like you can just kind of take it generically. So it's sort of like the easy pick, no matter what you're doing.
Yep.
But yes, it's just like, boy, is it. It's actually rough to complete.
You have to have. Here's the deal. Here's who takes this. You want to know my thoughts on who takes this?
I'm ready.
Heavy shooters.
Sure.
Right. Like if you are doing the
heavy mobile shooters.
Heavy mobile shooters. Right.
Yeah.
Like high mobility or long range shooting or high mobility shooting. Right.
Yeah.
Those 3 take this.
Sure.
Because they can pick and choose their targets.
Yep.
If you can ignore the guarded hero or whatever, right? Like those types of things, that's when you would take this.
Sure. Yeah, I think potentially Skaven, potentially Sylvaneth, you could pick up some points. But as I said, I literally did that matchup where we both had this, and there's very little treasures picked up. I'll just say that it's hard. Right. Okay. Yep. Number 4, Wrathful. Oh, good. Good.
Talking about carrying units, like 20 block of Chaos Warriors.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that would be another one where, like, what are you going to do?
Right. It's just not a thing you want to go have a fight with, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wrathful Cycles. Okay. I like this one actually quite a lot. though it is a little, but it's interesting. All right, here we go. Affray. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control more objectives than your opponent. Okay, straightforward.
It's very doable turn 1.
Very doable turn 1.
Especially if you can go first. It's
Yeah,
very
if you're given
doable
the
turn
top
1.
one, right? Yeah, to some degree, Haroon, right? That's you are like you're kind of choosing what you think is going to best align to your list, and you need to think about like what's going to counter you, right? So it's not just like what can my list actually do. It's a question of like what's going to stop me from doing this. Yes. The strike is Daring Resurgence. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you are the underdog this battle round, and there is
I
at
hate
least
this
one
so
friendly
much.
unit on the battlefield, and at least half of the friendly units on the battlefield, rounding up, used a fight ability. Okay.
Nope. Like when I get to the second one, like I read the first one, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I get to the second one, I'm like, nope, hard pass. I don't want to do this.
It's really hard. The strike is really hard, right?
I don't ever want to be an underdog if I can help it, right? And I don't want to because I don't want to intentionally put myself down in points. That's the first thing. And second thing, not only are you putting yourself down in points, you have already went up in points
Yes,
because you have
correct.
more objectives than.
That's right.
And so going from more objectives to underdog it's such a huge jump.
Sort of. Keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily mean you had more points than them. Like if you went first turn and you got the extra objectives, and so let's say you get 10 points, and then they go and they don't take more objectives, but they get a battle tactic, they're going to finish at 13. You're at 10, right?
Yep.
So again, you will be the underdog because you don't need to be like down by 1 as the underdog.
Yeah.
And I don't mind some of the underdog bonuses in the battle plans are really strong. Like if you can run a close underdog, right? It's actually not too bad.
I don't like my battle plan contingent upon me planning on losing for part of the game.
Yeah, I understand. I get it. I get it. This is one of those ones, by the by, that like if you have this and you table your opponent and you've only completed the affray, you're screwed. Right? Like you cannot complete the rest of this. It's just you're done. You cannot get these points. Okay.
Correct.
I think there will be people who play down early, and I think you can get yourself into this where you get the affray and still have the strike as an option. What actually scares me about it is not the being the underdog. I don't actually care. I think in most games you'll
fighting with half of your units.
Yeah, like that's just a lot of units that have to fight, right?
Right.
If this is your first night of Fight Club, you must fight, right?
Yeah.
So I think that like this one can be challenging because Catharsis, I don't think you want it for a comeback shooting castle army, being that you have to use a fight ability. You bring all your archers into combat and your cannons and stuff, like that doesn't feel like the play. No, I think this is a very specific kind of list, honestly. Okay.
Why ain't you fighting? Yeah.
Why ain't you fighting? Yeah, I think this is a list where, so what this is good for, like, I do like this one. I think it's interesting what it's asking you to do. I do think it's very hard. And I don't think I'd ever take it very much is my answer, really. Just because like getting to the third one, we haven't even talked about the third one. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there is a different friendly unit wholly within each large quarter of the battlefield. You control more objectives than your opponent, and there are no enemy units contesting any objectives that you control. Okay. That's a lot. Again, very easy for them to sort of screw up, so on and so forth. So you have to like be up, not technically up in points, but like up in objectives, then down, then back up again, right? Which I find to be an interesting ask and play pattern. But yes, if you have like, that's right, CW. So like if you have a sort of one-drop army where you've packed a lot of power into this kind of thing, I actually do think this is a reasonable thing you could get at. Okay. So like a low drop, high power per unit army, I do think this is actually a pretty interesting choice for them.
Yeah.
I think that's the army that takes this, right? All right, cool. Scouting force. I mean, this is going to be one we see a lot as well, right? Okay.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, this is like, I think we will see this one quite a lot. At the start of the battle, every friendly non-hero infantry and non-hero cavalry unit wholly within friendly territory becomes a scout unit. You cannot complete these battle tactics with scout units that are in combat. Replacement units that replace scout units are also scout units. Okay, so just reading that alone, it's already shut off certain armies, right?
Sure. No giants. If you are a giant, you cannot.
You literally
are too
can't
tall.
take this.
You cannot ride this ride. Yes.
You are too tall for this ride. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
you can picture other armies that are like monster heavy or or war machine heavy or stuff like that, right? They're just not, they just don't have this. It actually takes you want more than just 3 infantry or cavalry units, by the by.
Correct,
right?
because they have to be 3 units out of combat.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
3 units dedicated to not fighting. That's what you need to get your head around. This is
Yes.
3 units that either don't fight or only use ranged attacks.
That's right. This one,
So,
though,
like-
will be popular. It is a lot of pressure for the MSU. The MSU build is very sort of thing. This is the one I'm building that Skaven army specifically for, obviously. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, a fray, raiding party, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are 3 or more friendly scout units wholly outside friendly territory. Pretty, like many of the maps, that is very doable. Very turn 1 doable, very turn any turn doable.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Bold Explorers, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if 3 or more objectives or terrain features that you control in any combination are being contested by any friendly scout units. Those objectives and terrain features not controlled, contested, which is nice. You can wheel up
and
alongside.
Terrain is everywhere.
That's right. That's right. Terrain heavy boards, you just wheel up alongside this big terrain feature. There are enemy units standing on this side, technically they're contesting it. You wheel up on the other side, you're safe. They can't really countercharge you in any way, and you just sit there, right? Like bing bang.
Yep.
Got them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
They have to be within enemy territory. That is the only scary part about this, is actually that last sentence. There are a fair number of maps, as we'll see, that where the enemy territory is like this,
Yeah.
it's like the line at the top, and that will very much shrink. They don't have to be wholly within.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But it does reduces down your number of options. So you got to be a little careful about that. And then finally, Courageous Adventurers, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if a friendly scout unit that was not set up this turn is contesting a terrain feature that you control that is wholly within enemy territory and that is more than 6 inches from friendly territory.
Yep.
Okay. So then you just have to control 1.
Right. One scout unit has to survive till the end.
That's right.
Yep.
This one feels very doable for all 3. I think it'll be very commonly taken. The average terrain on the board of people using anything that looks like the sort of base setup maps or anything in that range, using the recommended amount of terrain, as it were. This one feels very doable.
And as an aside,
yeah,
this is a great opportunity to punish people with terrain pieces, because those are set up in your own friendly territory.
Correct. You say that, Quoll, for a lot of battle plans, there's only 1 valid terrain feature. I'm not sure if that's true. I'd have to go look at the maps. We can look at it when we look. But remember, if you're playing, I don't know, Skaven, I'm gonna put a gnaw hole here in your enemy territory, teleport to it. I control it now.
Hey, look, there's a
Hey, look,
there's
I will
there's
just
a
build
terrain
my
piece.
own terrain in your space, right? So
I'm going to be Lumineth. I'm just going to fly mine over to you.
Yeah, Lumineth could fly it over. No, really. Like Lumineth could fly it over. Nighthaunt and Soulblight, who both have their little ghost jails or whatever that they can either move or set up in enemy territory, right? Trying to think of like who else has weird faction terrain like that they can. Oh, Sylvaneth obviously could just pop up woods in your territory, right? That kind of thing. So and yes, as you mentioned, their faction terrain that they probably set up in their territory also becomes a target for this.
Well, Qual, you got to remember that the terrain just has to be in the territory. It doesn't have to be wholly within their territory. So even if even if the terrain piece is in both their territory and neutral territory, as long as the terrain is in their territory at all, it counts as a valid target.
Yeah. For the last one, for the very last one, that one has to be wholly within enemy territory. Okay.
Correct.
The other ones do not, right? So the other things you do not. They just have to be within. So the key is on step 2, you can tag all of those that are split, right?
Yep.
In step 3,
Yep.
you've got to find whatever one is there.
One. Right. Which is a terrain piece. It's not an objective. So like it may be harder than you think, but at the same time, like if they're chasing your scouting piece that wants to sit next to the one terrain piece or their thing, then they're not contesting all the objectives that you're sitting on.
I mean, the reason I'm not scared of this one is because we did have this one effectively, this third one as a battle tactic, which was take their land. And that was always like pretty easy to complete to some degree. I mean, take their land was a little different, but okay. So there you go. Yes, even more incentive to forget the bone tie the nexus at home. Yeah.
I mean,
but this one will be very popular.
Yes, it will be.
It also lets your chaff play double duty, by the way, because you can start with chaff, right? In these inventory
they run out to the corners.
Yeah. And well, just run out anywhere you want, right? You don't necessarily have to go to the sides. It's going to depend on the map. The point is, you can you just want enough of the units that you can oh no, I lost a chaff unit. Okay, the other ones scatter and go do their scouting thing. It's fine.
Yeah, and there are some armies that are just going to be kings of this, that you're going to be able to do very little against them. Sylvaneth is going to be the king of the scouting forces. I think in general, Lumineth will as well.
Yeah.
Lumineth will be in a very strong position for this battle tactic.
I agree. Wind riders or wind chargers or whatever they're called, and
the wind chargers and the river blades that are telewarders.
Yeah, right? The river blades and then I guess the hurricane can't because he's not. No, is the non-named guy?
He's a monster.
He's
a monster.
Okay.
They're both monsters.
He's a monster.
So he's a hero. The name guy's a hero.
Yeah,
the other one's a monster. Yeah. It has to be infantry or cav. So that's
why I couldn't remember if the little fox guy was a monster.
But Tzeentch disc riders, Skyfires would be really good for this.
Oh, that's true. Actually, Gitmob. Germ said Gitmob. Gitmob would be pretty solid at this too. They have a lot of fast, cheap ass units that they could get there.
Yep. But I would say that Skyfires though are high mobility, hard to catch, and long range. So they never have to threaten themselves to put pressure on the enemy.
Oh no, I think Skyfire stonks huge in this edition. Yes, I love everything Skyfires are doing.
Yes,
especially since they don't take
doing scouts. Yeah,
and they don't take penalties to hit. Right. So, I'm sorry, cover what? Never heard of it.
Correct. Yeah. And with Kairos's strengths, right? I think Tzeentch could come out swinging in this season as well.
Right. Yes, that is a minorly annoying thing. At the start of the battle, every friendly non-hero infantry and non-hero cavalry unit wholly within friendly territory. Depending on the nature of the map, if you're on that 11-11 thing, if your scout unit in deployment uses its deployment phase ability to walk up and out, then it's not a scout unit.
A scout. Right.
Yeah. Right. Which is both dumb and a real non-bow. This should this should be a deployment phase ability.
I agree, but it's not. And things that deploy off table like Stormcast are will pay the price for this.
Yeah, sure.
Because they you have to be on the table for it. Skaven, if anybody's deploying in the gnaw hole, that's a problem.
Sure, absolutely. I so rarely use my Skaven off table deployment. I don't know, maybe it's a mistake on my part, but I just never really see a reason to do it. Okay.
No.
And then finally, card number 6, attuned to Gairan. Okay. I just back to this one real quick. Sorry. I do hope that they FAQ that or something to be a deployment phase ability because it's just stupidly timed. The fact that scouts can't scout is dumb. So maybe they'll fix that. I don't know.
Scouts literally can't scout. Correct.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully they fix that. All right. Attuned to Gairan. So Affray, Sacred Centrality. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are at least 2 friendly units within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield. Okay, that thing's back. By the way, I love this one. We'll talk in a moment. This is like
I do.
this is
I do too.
absolutely one of my Skaven battle tactics. This is like I'm so in for this one.
This is one of my Cruel Boys ones. Yeah.
Sure. Then phase strikes. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if all the following are true. 2 friendly units retreated, and then 2 other friendly units used a charge ability, and at least one of those units ended a charge move in combat with an enemy unit from which the lure unit retreated. Okay, so you can charge 2 things. Only one of them can be anything. One of them has to be something you retreated away from. All right, great. So 2 in, 2 out.
There are some ways to like cheese this as well.
Yes, let's talk about it in a second. Let me get through the third one real quick here. Then finally, purification rights. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are no enemy units within friendly territory and no enemy units within neutral territory. This is the part of it I hate. Again, that third one is so hard. But if you're aiming for 4 complete, you can just be like, well, if I get lucky and kill them, I get this one.
Right.
Because again, you have to just table the opponent.
In a hammer-heavy army.
To you. If your hammer-heavy army better have retreat and charge.
Or auto retreat abilities.
Sure.
Or like auto retreat abilities would trigger that. Or you are set up in such a way, like, yes, retreat and charge. Or if you have enough hammers, like oops, all hammers, you can pull hammers out and put other hammers back in.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't recharge with the same one that retreated. That's not why I'm saying retreat and charge, just by the way, to be clear, before the actually brigade shows up. Okay. Because it's 2 other friendly units had to charge. I'm just saying if you're a hammer army with like 2 hammer units or something, or 3 hammer units, you can't afford to pull 2 of them out of combat and have them do nothing for a turn.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
That's why I'm saying that.
But if you have 5 hammer units, you can pull 2 of them out.
Yes. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this one, I like this one because I like the first 2. Actually very funny. I love it with my Skaven because I've been playing around with that new trait or whatever where you're trying to get the guy killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I pick a Claw Lord every time. And there's like a Master Molder back who's trying to get that Claw Lord killed. And I just teleport the Claw Lord to the center of the table or run him up there or whatever. There's like 10 different ways he could get up to the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And then I move any other high mobility unit up into the center. And then in their turn, that guy stays right where he is in the center, the Claw Lord who wants to die, who's going to give me +2 to all my charges. And the other unit just 3 claw steps ahead, like zoom, just leaves. Right.
Yep.
And so it's just such an easy thing to achieve that first one in that way. So.
Yep.
Well,
there are lots of units that have like a auto disengage ability, right? And almost all of them, when those trigger, they read you may use the retreat ability, right? So they would trigger these retreats. Not that you want to gamble it on a like a 3+, right?
Sure.
But
you're saying anything that says like this unit counts as having retreated or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, it doesn't count as having been retreated. When you successfully roll that dice or whatever, it says you may use the retreat ability.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like,
yeah.
Like I went and read a bunch of them, right? To see like, because you can accidentally complete this.
Yes. Sure.
Right?
It's just like that third one is really hard, right? Because again, if they have teleporters or stuff like that, all the things we talked about before is just present here again. And that's just it. A lot of these, the third is really, really tough. Right. Yeah. It's going, pulling the full 30 points off of these is going to be really, really hard.
Yep.
So
yeah, that is absolutely true.
I think this one's also perfectly valid for like high mobility units. You probably will, or high mobility armies. You probably won't ever get the third one really. But it's still completely doable. Depends on what their army's made up of and how you can push pressure. Something like a Slanesh army could certainly get at this one pretty decently. So there you go. But overall, I think this one pushes you to have more units. I think Scouting Force pushes you to have more units. I think Wrathful Cycles is just a really weird hard play pattern. I'm not sure what army that incentivizes. It's just tough to predict. I think Intercept and Recover, the fact that it will be so popular, encourages you to have more units and to have MSU so that you always have things you can just put the treasures on and keep out of their grasp and effectively deny them 15 points. You make them start down 15, right?
Yep. Scout players will inherently be the bane of treasure players. Of Intercept and Recover. Right? Because scout players already have dedicated units whose purpose is to avoid combat and to move highly. Right? And so if the first time the Intercept and Recover player rolls up against a scout player, they're going to be like, cool. Wind Chargers, Ripper Blades. Go.
Right. And then those things just like over the course of the game collect their things they need to collect without putting themselves in any danger, while the rest of the force does the work and draws attention.
Right. Yeah, and so it incentivizes, it forces that situation. I think that the interplay of these battle tactics is going to create some really interesting play patterns within the meta.
Yeah, I agree. Did I miss Doc? What do you mean?
We're not govern armies. We're just going through battle tactics and rules changes.
Yeah. No, we're not doing the battle scroll and the points and stuff today, Danny boy. Sorry. That'll be next week. Too much stuff for one day. We're doing the GHB. Everything in the GHB. Battle tactics, battle plans. Plenty to discuss there. And I think Master of the Paths is good for your hammer. I think Restless Energy is okay. I really don't like Attuned to Gyran for your hammer army. I know you're making that claim. Okay. I think this is actually better for your Anvil army.
Maybe.
Like your Iron Jaws heavy Ard boys type of thing. I can do this. All day.
But you can't, because you can't clear them. Like the problem is to do the third one.
No, I'm not going to get the third one, but I don't care. I'll get that.
And what I'm saying is that if you want to do this, you need to have a lot of hammers.
I think the problem is like, to get at the third one.
You need to be a porcupine army that is also a bunch of hammers.
I guess. I don't know who you're talking about.
Cruel Boys.
Okay. I'm not even sure that's true. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe they're like the one miracle army that like flies through that is the elephant through the head of this pin or whatever. Or I don't know. Or through the eye of the needle or whatever. But I think this one is like the people who are going to be the best at the third suck at 1 and 2.
Because the key is that they can push stuff into the middle and say, "Come at me, bro." Right? And threaten like real reprisal.
I guess you push 2 of your hammers in the middle, you really risk them getting hard flat-footed.
You have a lot of strikes last. Like you have other things to push back. I hear that. I do. Okay.
Yeah, I think this one's better for
and you have a lot of tools that auto retreat as well in the army.
I think this one's stronger for Anvil attrition armies, but we'll see. I don't know. Take it in a Cruel Boys army and score all 3 every game and prove me wrong. Just some dude with a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. There is super chat available if you want to throw some money at us to help out. It's deeply appreciated. Hey Vince, just so a study was done that found out that rats prefer to listen to jazz when high on drugs. Well, first of all, I imagine that's true for more than just rats. I think that's probably it's a wide range of creatures. But anyways, my question is, do Skaven have jazz clubs? I'd like to think so. I'm sure they do. Yeah. 100%. That feels like they're like they like snake jazz, but they got rat jazz. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Seption, you said you love the general system, you hate the actual tactics. I think that's the point. Is that the tactics are supposed to be hard. There are almost no auto tactics here,
which I like. Right. I'm actually excited that for the first time ever, it is not just like this auto thing you go through where you're just like, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this. The downside to that, right? Every decision has an upside and a downside, right?
Yep.
Is that it's because it's hard, it will dominate your gameplay, right? And so like you will have to find the 2 that build your list to align best with 2 of these, and it will guide your gameplay to some degree, right?
Right, but it's a choose your own adventure in that you're choosing which 2 of the 6.
Yeah, sure.
Rather
100%.
rather than before where everybody was having to use the same 6.
Sure. I like this better. I think this is a huge, vast improvement. Stress-wise, I will say this is so much lower for me because I don't ever like I'm really not planning on getting 30. Okay. Like getting all 6 just feels like basically impossible in most for most games. I mean, I'm sure somebody is. I'm sure the best players in the world are. And that's why I said the skill thing will really matter because the best players will get 30 and I won't. Right. And, but like, because of that, I just feel like, okay, I've got more time to deal with these. I don't want to deal with battle tactics this turn. I need to focus on the battle and on combat and getting the fights I want done. I can do that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, I think that's a thing. Seption, I mean, you're potentially not wrong. The dark side of this fear is that, in fact, it just proves that the only way to actually get 30, right? That's true, Germ. No spending 10 minutes at the start of every turn deciding on a tactic. For people like me with like hardcore decision paralysis, like choice paralysis, holy God, that was a...
Well, there's no choices here.
Yeah. That's just it. Like it took that out of the game and put it somewhere else, which is nice.
Right, which is great. I'd love to make those decisions before the game starts.
Yeah. I agree. So there you go. I think that it'll be interesting. My downside fear is that it does prove that the hammer thing is the best strat. Okay. And that people go, nah, forget the rest of that. I lean in as hard as possible. I think the counter to that, again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't picture exactly where things are going to go. I think that is one possibility. I think that is stymied by the reality of having a lot of scout units that are highly mobile going around being teleporty that basically shuts that strategy down. Right.
Yeah.
And so I do think we're going to be like in actual play patterns and list building have a little bit more rock, scissors, paper in that regard, which I like. So,
yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yes, I agree, Seption. Even with the complaints, this is still so much better than what we had before. Yeah, 100%. Like I have had such a better time playing under this system than the previous battle tactic system because I'm not sitting there reading the card. Like this is the start of my turn. Basically every game in 4th and 3rd. So, no, if I do, okay, maybe that goes on. Yep. That just goes on.
I'm aware.
As I think through every tactic, and if I choose to do that, how can they counter it? What will I have to do? What am I not doing instead? Right? Yep. Like all of that had to be decided at the start of every round, and it was frustrating.
Yep, I agree with that completely. Like I think this will speed up games significantly.
Yeah. Rolling less dice would be the most important thing to speed up games considerably, by the way. That is number one. Like the number one thing that takes time in our games is rolling dice. That's it. Do a time and motion study. You will find that it's dice rolling. Okay.
Yeah.
Battle plans. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Well, we've talked about the battle tactics we're fighting over. Now it's time to talk about the battle plans. Okay. Just time stamping here. Time stamping. All right. Here we go. These are in like no particular order, by the way. I just put them in the order that I had them. So they're not like 1 through 12. Okay. Okay. Branu, yes. Or like actually just tapping them in my hand, right? Just like doing this with the cards. Yes. Okay. At any rate, Surge of Slaughter. So let's talk about the first thing. I'm just going to mention this once, and then I'm not going to mention it again. Tom, there's no BS stair step deployment zones in this entire season. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We got them. Unroll the mission accomplished banner. We got there. They heard us. No more dumb stair steps.
No,
gone.
You're wrong.
They're
You're
dead.
wrong. Life cycle is a stair step.
It's not a stair step.
It is, because here's the problem with life cycle. You can't deploy up that entire battlefield half. You can only go 9 inches out. So it goes like this. The actual deployment goes like this.
We'll talk about it. We'll get there. We'll wait until we
Yeah.
get to life cycle. The written stair steps are all gone. Yes, there's still some blah 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 whatever, but it's better, and I love it. Okay. Anyways,
It is better.
standard split half and half. Only 2 places of power in this one, but again, heavy terrain towards the middle. This uses
Places
all.
of power don't matter as much, arguably, anymore.
Sure. Well, I mean, sort of and sort of not. I guess it depends, right? It's relevant for stuff like what's obscuring and what's area, right? And things like that.
Well, can I?
Go ahead. He's thinking.
So it just dawned on me.
Yeah.
Rapid sprouting does nothing.
Where what are you talking about? Where are we at? We're on Surge of Slaughter. What are you talking about?
I know, but talking about place of power. Sorry, let me process through this real quick.
Okay.
All places of power are already obscuring as per the rules.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
Correct.
So when you activate rapid sprouting, that place of power, it says gains the obscuring ability. It already has the obscuring
No,
ability.
you pick an objective or a terrain piece within 12 inches of the target.
all other terrain pieces other than obstacles already have obscuring.
Obstacles would be the ones you would do it to, or objectives. You're doing it to the objectives. It happens on objectives.
Okay.
Which is a big chunk, because that's like
Yes,
6
right.
inches plus a 40 mil
Yeah, it's
circle
the
suddenly
disc.
becoming obscuring.
Yes, it's the disc that becomes obscure. Like
Right.
it becomes the mouse pad that becomes obscuring.
That's right. Like, consider the middle of this table, Tom, that we're looking at on Surge of Slaughter,
Yeah.
right? If both
Yes.
of these are area, so they're both cover and obscuring, and then this place of power turns this obscuring, that basically the middle of the board is obscuring. Nothing over here is shooting anything over here.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. So back to this. There's 2 little places of power. These 2 are purple antler one, or whatever this is, brown antler one. And you can start with your green, or sorry, it's 5 objectives. When I say 6, it's 5. Start with your 2 green ones, and then your purple middle one nobody can actually start on. Okay, great, fine, good. Love the placement of these objectives vis-a-vis the terrain. What a wonderful split up of the board this is. It's fantastic. At any rate,
3 objectives for the scouting player at the end of the game.
Yes, correct. Without faction terrain, you have 3 potential scouting player objective targets here. Yes, correct.
Yep, and I don't know where the
and you
bone
have
nexus
2,
ever
3,
goes
4,
here.
5, 6, 7, 8 for the middle one.
Correct.
Like, you've got the middle one on this battle plan. Like, it's just that you get it. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Yes, Branu, we've talked about how shooting is, let's call it, highly disincentivized. Unless you have very mobile shooting. That's a different story.
Right.
Like, I
Or
do put
shooting
stonks.
that avoids obscuring.
Yeah. Okay. So at any rate, Defense of the Realm. If you're the underdog, you can use the Defense of the Realm ability once per battle round, start of the battle round. For the rest of the battle round, add 1 to the rend characteristic of friendly units' melee weapons while they are contesting. I'll pick a pair of objectives, sorry, while they're contesting either of the target objectives. So it'd be either bop and bop or bop and bop. A very good underdog ability. Like, +1 rend to go push into their space is pretty nice. So, because what will tend to happen here is the old clock rotation, Tom, right? Given the way the terrain is laid out, like, what will happen is you'll get a rotation as your army will go mostly this way, their army will go mostly this way. So that's fine. Other than that, 5-3-2. Okay. I like this one a lot. I think it's fun. It's good, simple, effective. I rate it. Good placement.
Yeah.
Easy setup. Very clever on its usage. The purple objective in the middle. I'm just going to call them purple, green, brown, and whatever, because who cares? Yeah, good stuff. Surge of Slaughter.
Yep.
Solid, like 8 out of 10 for me. It's not doing anything exceptional, but it's a good battle plan. Sound right to you?
Yep.
Yes, the Death Vortex. That's right. Yeah, the Death Vortex. Okay. Linked ley lines. God, I love the setup on this one. This one is so wild. Okay. So 4 places of power scattered out. And there's like 4 big terrain pieces and then 5 objectives, all fairly clustered sort of in the neutral zone in the middle, right? So 11 to 11 deployment zones. This one is a little different on scoring. So a linked ley line is formed across the battlefield, long edge to long edge or short edge to short edge, while one player controls all the objectives on that line. So in other words, I guess this is technically red, not brown, whatever, red to red or green to green. Okay. Each player scores victory points at the end of their turns as follows. 3 victory points if you control 1 objective. 3 victory points if you control 2 or more. So you're at 6 so far. 2 if you control any pairs of objectives. 2 reds, 2 greens. 2 victory points if you control all of the objectives on a linked ley line. So here or here, meaning you have to have the middle one as well, right?
Yep.
Now, technically, the weird play here would be to push hard toward the center. Like, I think how, like, if you're the strong hammer army, you have a strong play here of pushing hard towards the center and taking the vertical ley line, right? Because you can grab all 3 of these, hold a strong center, force your enemy to the outsides around these big terrain pieces, right?
Yeah.
And then you will get you can get the 10 points, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is one where you only have 4 on the scouting thing. You have 4 targets for the second one, 1 target for the third one, right? That's it. With the standard deployment. But otherwise, I like this. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's interesting. It, as an aside to talking scouts again, it only has 1 valid objective.
Mm-hmm.
So that scouts has to take that area, terrain, or obstacle, right? Like that corner out of the way terrain. But if you'll notice, almost no one is going to be near those objectives, and it is near the edge of the board. So edge teleporters will be able to take it.
Yes, that is right. That is right. You get 2 little underdog abilities. I don't care. They're both whatever. It's like literally irrelevant on this one. I think
Manifestations have strike first. Watch out, baby.
Yes, exactly.
Conspine,
and all of your friendly units' weapons have anti-manifestation plus 1 rend. They could have just stopped there, and I still would have thought this was underwhelming. But it's only while those units are contesting an objective that is both controlled by you and on a linked ley line. Okay, cool, great.
So we have some lore text. Got it.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so like I like this one. I think it's good. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. It's going to encourage a little more scrummy, slammy in the middle, which some armies still like, right? Again, this is one where if you had the kind of castle-y type of build, theoretically you could like move your whole castle into the middle and kind of spread around that in this space and be strong on, right? It's not really pulling you apart.
This is the clock pivot as well, right? You extend into that wedge and then you rotate.
Yeah, 100%. Like what'll tend to happen here is one person will cut this direction, one person will cut this direction. They'll meet in the middle over purple. So it'll end up going like this, but it won't be a full rotation. They'll start like this, go like this, slam like this. Right. That's what'll usually end up happening.
Yep.
Okay. So there you go. All right. Noxious Nexus. Okay, I love the deployment on this one. Just hard to the right, baby. Hard to starboard. Okay, so objectives cannot be controlled in the first battle round. That's number 1.
Yep.
Crazy. Okay.
Sure.
Each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns as follows. Okay. 5 victory points if you control the Oakenbrow objective, which is the red one. That's its name. Oakenbrow. Sure, why not? 3 victory points if you control the Gnarlroot objective. That's the green one. 2 points if you control the Heartwood objective. Okay.
Sure. Except
in addition, at the end of the battle, a player scores 10 victory points if they control the purple Heartwood objective. So no points in round 1. Right? Your battle tactics, obviously, but no objective points in round 1. But then you got this little bonus Benny Tenny at the end, right? This one is interesting. Heavy terrain in the deployment areas between that big piece sitting kind of square in your deployment zone, plus the little place of power. kind of at the edge where your hero could be forward. It really encourages you. Like the trick with this is it's encouraging you to corner your army, right? To be over here, like where the text is written, is what it's like where the just soft incentive of the space is to be. But that's exactly the opposite of what you want to do, because what you want to be is over here in this corner trying to explode out this direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying like the terrain says be like this because then you're protected with this area terrain, but the mission says no, be over here more in the open so you can kind of explode out here.
Like the open, like the setup is behind the place of power.
Yes. Period. Correct. Yeah,
like,
it's right here.
No, and that is still guarded because they can't be in the open space either.
Sure.
Does that make sense? And so actually, like you're still shielded, and you can maybe be within range of that place of power to make some of the objectives obscuring.
Right. Yeah, you don't actually need forest. This is just all obscuring terrain. It doesn't actually have to be a forest. That's just their little picture for it. It could be anything. Yeah. Could be a boat. Literally, could be a boat.
Could be a boat. Literally.
Like, literally. Anyways, if you're the underdog, you can use the Caustic Sap ability. Caustic Sap, roll a d3 for each target. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target. So you have to pick an objective, is what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Equal to the roll. If you picked the Heartwood objective, roll a d6 for each target instead. Still on a 2-up though. A lot of mortal damage. A lot of sap. A lot of sap. Yeah, I love this one. I love shifting the deployment way to the right side, and yet you're trying to push left. This one's like a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's great. Actually, no, I'm lower that. It's an 8 out of 10 because there's only 3 objectives. There you go. I'd like it more if there was more objectives.
But it's like an interesting 3 objectives.
Because, it is.
Like everybody, like no one really wants to go out to Heartwood, but they're going to do it because they need to.
Yeah, sure.
Except that one player that has an extra castle that they push over there and be like, you can't have this for the rest of the game. Until you
just like teleports this massive anvil unit over here.
And you're just like, cool.
Set your 20 yard boys in the middle of this objective and just call it a day.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Run the big boss over. Good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. The life roots. Okay. So yes, Tom, this one is goofy because it has this cut out of the middle that goes like this, right? Like, yeah, whatever.
Well, you get the life roots is one of them. That's weird, right? It has this like weird 9-inch like stagger.
This is their solution to playing. I actually don't hate this solution, Tom. Okay. They wanted to still have a horizontal deployment, like a long ways deployment, but they were like, okay, but what's annoying about that deployment? Well, what's annoying about it
reaching the far edge
is reaching the far edge. So that's fine. We'll just shut that off because you can be out here, right? Up in this kind of top
which you
right
still generally can't reach. Like you can maybe reach it.
Yeah, it's more reachable.
Okay. Noted, this only has one objective that's viable for scouts as well.
I don't know if that actually touches the other territory, but
no, it doesn't matter. They have to be farther than 6 inches from the.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. This is the only one that's valid.
Right.
Yes.
So totally there's only one that's viable here, other than player terrain.
Yep. Okay. Each player scores 1 life root point at the end of each of their turns for each terrain feature they control. Okay, so you're trying to control terrain features to some degree or another. Yep. And then each player scores victory points as follows: 5 if you control 1, 3 if you control both, 2 if you have more life root points than your opponent. Okay.
And you get life root points by holding terrain.
That's right. This is like a 4 out of 10 for me. This is the one scenario in this pack I do not like.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because it makes you track. The game just isn't really set up to fight over terrain. Okay.
I understand.
This aggressively. Sure. Because it's like a 3-inch around terrain control feature and it's not actually actively marked. So it gets real squidgy. Terrain is real event dependent. It like.
You know what I laugh about?
What's that?
The Sylvaneth that sets up 6 extra terrain pieces.
Oh, sure. Tree. Yeah, of course.
All mine. I get all the life root points.
Yeah, going against Sylvaneth in the woods is never a good idea, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The underdog effect here, by the way, is basically it's whatever. It's fine. It's cool. It's fine. If you have like big heavy cav units that have a lot of models or stuff like that, like 5-6 wound things, it's pretty cool because you can get one back.
Or dragons.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. That's what I just said. They would count as big heavy cav, Tom.
Well, those aren't cav, those are monsters. And
Okay,
yes.
sure. It's a guy
Or-
riding a thing. It's cavalry.
Or
I understand it doesn't have the
baby
keyword.
giants. Or baby
Sure.
giants.
Baby giants. Yeah. Yes. Bigger, more elite units benefit. It's a neat ability. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a perfectly fine underdog ability. It's because it's like at the start of the battle round, I don't care that much.
Sure.
I don't like this one because I think 2 objective scenarios are just objectively bad design. That's really what it comes down to. That's it. I just think 2 objective scenarios lead to static gameplay. I know you're trying to like run around and touch some trees or something, right? But like, okay, you're gonna set up your. Go ahead.
Not only is it 2 objective scenarios, but they're 2 objective obscuring terrain pieces.
Yes.
Because the gap between those lines are 11 inches, which means that place of power is absolutely within range of that home objective.
100%.
So it is a home objective with obscuring.
Yes, correct. So I just don't like this. I really think this is the one whiff in the whole pack because it feels like you're going to spend the whole game just farting around.
Well, no, pushing. Like there's going to be a fight in the middle between those 2 obscuring terrain pieces as one army pushes against the objective of the other army.
Maybe, sure, yeah. Either I'd say that's one bad outcome.
60-yard boys. As you try to push through, 40 or 60-yard boys.
Yeah, I think that's one bad outcome. Yes. I think the other one is just people fart around with like enough of an anvil on their home objective or a porcupine that you don't want to go in while they're pooping faction terrain, like setting up null holes in their back line or Sylvaneth Woods in their back line or doing other dumb things to just sit there and score more on the life root points. Right.
Yeah.
And neither one of those play patterns sounds interesting to me. That's the problem.
Sure.
Right. I just think this is
line up the null holes.
Yeah, just like bop. There's 3 of them back there. They just got like an artillery piece in front of one, a hero in front of another, and they're just like, "What? This is mine. These are my points." Yeah, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I just think this is a bad scenario. This is like the 4 out of 10 out of the pack for me. But that's fine. I think the other 11 are all playable. So no big. Like, we always get one, Tom. Well, it wouldn't be a GHB if there wasn't one battle plan I thought was bad. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Bountiful Equinox. It's so bountiful. Back to 5 objectives. Okay. We got our 2 pairs here. And here you've got, again, the good setup, my favorite setup, the most classic setup, right? Yep. You've got 5 if you control 1, 3 if you control 2 or more, and then 2 victory points if you control at least 1 Oakenbrow, 1 Gnarl Root, and 1 Heartwood, which is interesting, right? Because it's not pairs. You would think this would be pulling on the pairs, but it's not. It's 1 Oakenbrow, 1 Gnarl Root, and then the middle one. It's saying you get the extra 2 if you hold the middle one, right? Which is effectively more. It's just another way of saying more.
If you have yours and the middle.
Right. But I actually like that change. It's not a pointless change because if you like stretch around and steal this one from them, which would be a pretty common thing to do in the actual play pattern of a game, right? It's like, no, I don't want to push toward the middle where their whole army can get me. I want to come up here and hit them in the flank, right? That's just generally the battle plan you go for. You steal their flank objective. If you do that, you're not getting the 2 points, right? So it's actually a clever twist on the hold more that does change the play pattern. So I like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
By the by, if you do the flank, which means you pull echelon right, and then they push toward the center and if they oppose your clock movement, they actually will score this, right? Because they'll have this trip right here on the left side, and they will get the 10. So I actually really like the play pattern on this one. It's 5 objectives. They're all relatively spread apart. And the underdog is not too annoying. Once we're about around the start, you get to pick an objective and you get to heal 3. Okay.
All of the objectives except for the center have obscuring.
Yeah, could be. Yes. They all have place of power nearby to just be like, boom. It's a woods now. You ain't seeing nothing. Your shooting is done.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yep.
I said good day, sir. I said good day. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Solid 8 out of 10 for me. It's good. Okay. Boop boop. Life cycle. I've played this one. This one's really fun. I love this one. I had a great time. Okay. So cycle order. It moves. I love how they printed this and then put this down here. They could just put arrows on the map. It's like, fine. It goes around like this. Got it. Cool. Okay. Fun. All right. Each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns as follows. 4 victory points if you control at least one objective. Fine. Straightforward. 2 victory points if you control more than your opponent. So not hold 2. It's more. Score 4 victory points if you control both the Oakenbrow, okay, so red, boop, and Gnarlroot, boop,
yep,
objectives in the first battle round only.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And then score 2 victory points if you control the primary objective. Okay. And score 1 victory point for each secondary objective you control. Okay.
Yep.
Now, why does this matter? Okay, so this is written kind of weirdly, but it does actually play out pretty fine. Here's the twist. At the start of the second battle round, the underdog has to use the life cycle ability. If there is no underdog, the players roll off, and the winner has used the life cycle. Life cycle. Pick either the Oakenbrow, red one, or Gnarlroot, green one, to become the primary objective. At the start of each subsequent battle round, the next objective in the cycle becomes primary, and then the things immediately before and after them are secondary, right? So let's say you pick Oakenbrow here, then your secondary objectives are this one and this one. Purple and whatever this one is. Darker purple. Blue and purple. I don't know. Whatever.
Thanks. I hate it.
I like this one. I love the setup on it. It's weird. It forces you out to the flanks.
I hate having to track it.
Yeah, it's actually, I didn't find this hard. We just put a little token on the primary one and then scooted along in a circle. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
Okay. This was just really fun in how it forced you to move around the board. Right? Yeah. I like scenarios that encourage movement. That make that be like, well, if you're just like static and want to sit in an area, you kind of lose. And this is very much that. The points will literally just walk away from you, right?
Yeah.
The 10-point turn at the start of the turn is like pretty hard, I will say. You have to really, although it is doable, if they give you top 1, you can pretty easily decide to have a 10-point turn. Okay.
Yeah.
But you risk a decent amount by doing so, to be fair.
Yeah.
So like it matters if you have a lot of off-turn movement, it's a lot less risky, right?
Yeah. You just pull back.
Again, that Skaven army I was talking about where I'm like moving my entire army in your turn multiple times loves this thing. Like I'll go first. I'm like a million drops. Make me go first. I will take this, no problem. I'll have one of the two before I even start, maybe both because of night runners, right?
Sure.
And then just whatever. 3 claw steps ahead multiple times. I just leave, like whatever. Have them. Bye. Right? Just like gone. You can have them too now. All right. So easy. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I had a great time with it. I think it's really good. I love the movement encourages. I love the way the terrain's arrayed. It actually is really nice. That like the way the places of power track across. It's actually really interesting vis-a-vis the way you start. Yeah, it's cool. Okay. Solid 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for me.
I mean, it's like a 6 for me because I hate the tracking.
That's fine. Again, we literally had a little metal coin that we just put on the primary when it was called, and then we just
I understand.
Moved it around. But again, I get it. It has an extra element. Creeping corruption. Okay. 6 objectives. I love creeping corruption. I love this one. Okay. I love this one.
Sure.
Because it's 6 objectives. And Tom, you notice they're not on the grid. Like they're not on the crosswalk. You notice how far out to the side those side objectives are?
It's so far. It's so far.
Yeah, those Oakenbrow and Gnarlroot
That's like
objectives are like
18 inches.
way over there.
That's like 18 inch, or like a 15 to 18-inch gap between those objectives.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 objectives, super spread, right?
Yeah.
5, 3, 2, very easy, completely standard scoring. If you're the underdog at the start of the battle round, you get to use the pulsing life energies. You pick an objective you control and one other objective, whether you control it or not. Draw a line between the centers of these objectives, then choose propagation or corruption. You either add 1 to casting, chanting, and banishment rolls for each unit crossed by the line for the rest of the turn, or inflict D3 mortal damage on each unit crossed by the line. I have played this one. Here's my answer. That literally does not matter. It basically hits. You almost always just pick the propagation because you're going to ram your own units as well. You're just going to ram jam your own units. Okay. Like almost incidentally, you're either hitting nothing or your own units almost every time.
Yeah.
But like this one was really fun. Because it's like so spread out. Right.
Yep.
So weak underdog, solid scoring, really nice terrain placement. The place of power are also really interestingly placed on how they're going to encourage certain units to be put in certain places.
Like the way that is, the way that it is placed, there is a place power within 12 inches of all of them.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like in the deployment, it will encourage you can kind of like, well, they're probably going to put one of their heroes near here. So they're going to anchor some part of their force near that thing, right? What it means is that kind of de facto people's forces will get anchored like here in the red zone by this place of power and here in the blue zone by this place of power. Does that make sense? I'm saying, I don't mean their whole force is there. I mean, like they're going to have some kind of representation there. So you kind of probably know a little about their deployment regardless of whether they've put a model down. I do agree. CW said cursed sepulcher placement will be very tough here. Like same with any, like the huge terrain pieces, you're in a spot, right? Good luck with that Bone Tithe Nexus. Enjoy its one place it can be in the very middle of the table.
Well, because it can't be within 6 inches of the center of the objectives or 6 inches of the discs.
It can't, the 3 inches of an objective. So it has to be, it can't touch the disc. Okay. And 3 inches from other terrain, which means I think that Bone Tithe could only go like literally right here. I think it has one legal spot.
Or it could go at the very back behind.
I'm not sure you could actually be 3 inches away from this place of power over here. Or this one. Maybe here or here. Yeah. Limited. But anyways, I like Creepy Corruption. Very fun. Good stuff. Love the crazy way the objectives are spread out. It's fantastic. Grasp of Thorns. I've played this one too, Tom. I got a funny story to tell you about this one. Okay. So 4 objectives, tons of terrain in the middle, tons, right? The middle of this board is just terrain.
Yeah.
Okay. And the outside is not, right? You got these 2 little teeny tiny baby forests hanging out there. Lots of good choices for scouts. That's no issue here, right? You've, so 5, 3, 2, very standard scoring. Nice. Again, the objectives, even though it's 4 of them, they are very spread. I've always liked the 4 corners on the 4 grid line place. That's really nice. That spreads out enough. Okay. Carnivorous Flora. Roll a dice. So underdog gets to use this at the start of the battle round. Roll a dice for each unit contesting. Pick an objective to be grasping. Roll a dice for each unit contesting that objective. On a 3-up, every model in that unit that is within the control zone of that objective is entangled for the rest of the battle round. Entangled models must stay within the control zone of the grasping objective for the rest of the battle round. While the unit has any entangled models, it cannot be removed from the battlefield by an ability that would allow it to be set up elsewhere on the battlefield. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
This is so dangerous. I played, my opponent just went hard on this purple objective. Okay. And had a bunch of his units here kind of like to take advantage of the place of power, and he was planning for a push, but he let me become the underdog. Like I intentionally underscored.
Yeah.
I went to the turn. I locked every one of his units on the objective. Okay. Like I just rolled all the 3-ups.
How?
Roll
Like
a
you can
dice for
still
each unit
you can
contesting that
still
objective.
move off of it. You just can't be reset up elsewhere.
No. Must stay within the control zone of the grasping objective. No, you cannot. You cannot
entangled
move.
models.
Correct.
Entangled
Which
models.
means
Got
the
it.
unit ain't going nowhere because coherency
Yeah.
is a thing. Like at most you can scoot to the edge where like one unit gets around there, but he had piled on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like he's just stuck there.
Yeah.
And by the by, if you keep riding the underdog, okay, so like he's
Yeah.
not going to score much, but if you just ride the underdog for a second turn and kill, like what you do then is you ignore all your point scoring things. You kill everything on their army that isn't stuck on that objective and
Sure.
stay the
Sure.
underdog and then trap them for a second round and then spread out and you win the game.
And then you choose what like where you want to engage then.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened. It's so dangerous. Like this will catch you out. I'm describing like the nuclear scenario, right? Where I literally had 1,500 points of his army trapped on that objective. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't, I mean, his first time playing it. I doubt the player would make the mistake again, right? Of putting that much on an objective. But that's going to catch somebody out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
And my point is the reason why this is so dangerous is if you take an objective with an important hammer unit.
Yeah.
That's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if your opponent drifts into underdog and just traps your hammer, okay, that unit no longer plays in this game for a whole battle round, potentially more.
Yeah.
Because they ain't moving away. And if you stay the underdog, they're just stuck there. They could just very much be stuck there.
Yep.
And even having that one unit, just like taking your 500 point hammer and getting it caught on an objective for a round or two, okay, well, that's the game.
Yeah.
So again, this one actually really encourages you to have more small units. Like, oh no, my 80 point chaff unit or my claw lord, my rando claw lord or night runners are stuck on an objective. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Who cares? Giants hate this mission, by the way. This mission might as well be called Death to Giants. Right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, this one's a real interesting one. Probably a 7 out of 10 just because it will, because of maybe a 6 because of the catch out potential. Like somebody's going to get caught.
Engender bad experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep, you're gonna not think about it. Do what you normally do, which is like aggressively move onto a scenario or onto an objective for positioning. You tow a lot of models on and stuff like that, and then it's like, well, okay, now you're stuck there forever.
Yep.
And by forever, I mean one battle round, which is basically forever in a game of AOS.
Yep.
All right, these are black and white. Sorry, they're black and white. Deal with it. Okay, this is just what it is. All right, cyclic shifts. 6 objectives, again, super spread out, even crazier than the last one because of the vertical or the horizontal diagonal spread of it, right? Again, big places of power across the middle, big place of power, big pop energy. There you go.
Yep.
That's it. Big pop energy. 5-3-2, perfect setup zone. This is another one that I played, by the way.
There's only one objective on this for scouting.
There is, yes, correct. Their little tiny piece of terrain.
Yeah.
Your underdog is strong but not crazy, right? Because you have to pick the pair of objectives, and they can't be controlled by either player, right? So you're picking either the 2 Oakenbrow or the 2 whatever ones, Gnarlroot, whatever the 2 ones that are paired. Yep. I can't even say green and red anymore because they're in black and white. How funny. I've hoisted on my own petard. At any rate, there's like a cost to it for yourself. So you have to use this ability very smartly. It's really interesting. In playing this, it was like a real choice to do this.
Well, target objectives. And so it's
these 2 in the middle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Or these two in the center.
Right, but not the 2 in the starting zones.
Correct. You can't pick the two in the starting zones because they're not paired.
Correct.
That's right. Those always remain choosable, but that's the point.
Yes.
It's the ones in contested territory, like,
Yeah,
and
that
so
you can turn off.
yeah, it's the ones most likely for you to have one and your opponent to have one.
Yeah. Yeah.
In which case, you just shut it off for both of you.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. So there you go. They're not black and white in the book, by the way. They're just black and white here because this is the version I had of them. I'm sorry, everybody. Don't worry. In the book, you will get them in full color. Yeah, I love this one. It's great. It's very straightforward. The absolute encouragement towards having lots of units, being able to spread far, high mobility, like running a hard 2-unit Death Star, like, where you piled everything into 2 600-point units. That's just suicide on this one. You're getting nowhere.
Yeah.
Because somebody's just going to, that thing's going to be, your Death Star takes an objective, your opponent becomes the underdog, and it's just like, well, your objective is worth a squat.
Yeah.
Okay. Roiling Roots. Again, 6 objectives. Again, quite spread out, right?
Yep.
Again, 5-3-2. Again, very terrain heavy. Good setting startup zone with a standard 11x11 across with a big DMZ with like very heavy terrain in there. Again, boy, like just for some of your setups of like terrain and stuff, you are pushed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really does dictate where you can set up.
Yep. Your underdog ability is pick a pair of objectives. So again, it's either these two or these two, right? So again, all the things in the neutral zone. For the rest of the battle round, units, friendly and enemy, have strike last while they are contesting either objective. Crazy. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I like it. I don't know what else to say. It's good. Again, all the same things I've said before happen again here, right? These are all encourages a lot of different units, a lot of mobility and movement, heavy terrain, weak on like shooting is weak. Look at all this crazy area blocking terrain in the middle. Lots of ability. The only unique thing about this one is you only have 2 places of power, right?
And they're only the far out flank ones because even the ones near the middle, like wholly within your territory, are probably outside of 12 of that terrain piece.
Yeah, maybe I'd have to look at the exact space, but depends probably on exactly what terrain you're using for your place of power because they're not perfect like math circles, right? There, whatever. But yes. So that's the only thing to note about this one, but it's good. I have not played this one yet. I look forward to it. I imagine you probably won't use the underdog ability very much is what'll happen. If your army has a bunch of strike first, that becomes very appealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who's going to be punching that whopper button because then the enemy strikes last and you fight normal and they die.
Right.
Paths of the Fae. Okay. If you are the underdog, you must use the Spirit Paths Open ability. Both players can use Stumbling Forth. So here we go. Once per battle round, start of the battle round, you must use this thing. Again, if you're the underdog. Pick 2 objectives to be the targets. Any 2. There are 5 objectives here total. All units within 6 inches of any target objectives must be removed from the battlefield by their commander. Those units are vanished. Then, starting with you, players must take it in turns to set up each friendly vanished unit wholly within 6 inches of either target objective and more than 3 inches from all enemy units. Each model must be set up as close to that objective as possible. Those units cannot use move abilities in the first movement phase of the battle round. If it is impossible for a unit to be set up in this way, it is set up in reserve as a lost unit. And then that's where everybody can use Stumbling Forth. The lost unit is you set it up on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units and wholly within 7 of the battlefield edge. This one's crazy.
Yeah. I like this with 200 zombies. Oof.
Yeah. This is the other one that I'm not as hot on. I kind of think it's interesting because of the crazy ability, but this underdog ability is like way too strong for me. This is probably like a 5. I don't hate it because I think it's still interesting and fun, but man, that vanish thing is going to get weird because it's
So how many
6
times can
inches
you
of the
use?
objective. That's so big. It's not even just the people contesting the objective.
Yep. Yep. How often can you use stumbling forth? Like, can you use it multiple times in your movement phase?
Yeah, it's just your movement phase. There's no other ability, so theoretically you can, and it's, there's no reason you couldn't do it much time.
Yeah.
This feels like a tournament nightmare. I agree with CW. The reason I'm torn on this one is because I like this one for like a home game. I think it sounds really fun to play with your friends,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
This legitimately sounds fun to play. This does not feel like a tournament scenario to me.
Correct. Correct. Because as you're setting up your reinforced block of 40 goblins who got caught with one model within 6 inches of an objective, so the whole thing vanishes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you set them up, but then they Congo line around an objective,
Yeah, sure.
like 2 around all the way, so that nobody can be set up within 6 inches, well, outside of combat, and then you lost everybody else, and then like it's just yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cause like, well, you can set up on the objective. You can be on the actual objective, but I understand what you're
Right,
saying. They're going to ring
but
it.
if you ring it,
Yeah, yeah, I
with
get
40
you.
models too deep. Like no one's setting up a unit in the center of that objective. Or
Yeah, it's
the
not
other
a core
players.
ability, Branu. So it can be you can use non-core abilities multiple times,
Yeah.
just not on the same unit.
Yeah, they just keep like your units just end up stumbling all along the terrain. But what's interesting actually about this, as an aside, is that you can actually threaten the other side objectives,
Yeah, sure.
right? Like so, stumbling onto the battle is not actually a bad thing, because suddenly
Yes.
you can actually dump them into one of the 4 threatening objectives. It's
Right.
only when the middle that it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Now the key here is you do still have to be 9 inches from enemy units. So like if the
Sure,
person is set up forcing you out towards the edge, you can't threaten it. Blah 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 blah. Right.
sure.
So
Yep.
this
Yep.
one's just
And
going to cause a headache. This is not a tournament scenario. I think this sounds very fun to play at home. It is not a tournament scenario.
I agree.
Okay. Last one. Passing seasons. In battle rounds 2 and 4, if you are the underdog, you can use the burgeoning rejuvenation ability. In
Sure.
battle rounds 3 and 5, while you're the underdog, your army has the powerful resurgence ability. You want burgeoning rejuvenation because it is insane. Okay, so here we go. This is in battle rounds 1, 3, and 5. You score 5 victory points for each gnarl root objective you control, which is this one, these two in the neutral zone. Right.
Mhm.
So your home objective is worth nothing. Right.
Right.
In
Right.
battle round 1. Okay. In 2 and 4, you score 5 victory points for each Oakenbrow, the actual home objectives. I really like the box to box deployment, by the way. This has always been one of my favorite deployments, the box to box. So happy for that. Again, just places of power all over the place. A little more open board, frankly, with a lot of space in the middle. Although how much you want to be in the middle, I don't actually know.
Getting to those objectives, by the way, are going to be a real problem.
Sort of
Turn
depends on
one.
who you are, right?
Right. Like if you have a teleporter, sure.
Yes, absolutely. Or like here, this works against the again only one scout target. Another challenge here, but
Yeah.
if you have like aggressive scouting forces, read people who have pregame moves of any kind,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and you're forced to go first, you can very easily have a starting 10-point
Sure.
turn
Sure.
and risk nothing.
Right. 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 Right.
Your power pieces are still back here guarding your home, setting you up for turn 2, or like pushing up slightly to go for like the turn 2 push, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like this one. Again, it's weird, the flip back and forth. Oh, we didn't talk the underdog thing. But I love the flip back and forth where like these two are worth something and these two are worth something, but they're never at the same time worth something is cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The important part here is in 2 and 4 when you can use burgeoning rejuvenation on your home objectives. Like people are going to be really hard pressed to push into your castle because what you're going to do is have good ward save units on your home objective that are suddenly getting +1 to their ward saves.
Yep. Yep.
Right. Like, that's what
Eltharion,
happens.
3-up save, baby.
Sure.
3-up
Absolutely.
ward save, baby.
I mean, any like 3-up, 5-up unit becomes a night. Like, they just don't die. Right? Your Ard boys are a nightmare sitting on their home objective at this point. Like, they're unbreakable. Just unbreakable. There is no
like the reality
they,
is that Ard boy list isn't playable with these scenarios. Like, it doesn't have the right unit composition to be playable.
I think there is still absolutely an Iron Jaws list that's quite playable. I've been messing around with it a little bit, but not the full Ard boys list.
Ard boys. Correct.
Yeah.
That's what
but a single block, sure.
Oh yeah.
With the weird knob backing him up 100%.
Yeah.
And again, that block will not move. Sitting there on a 3-up, 4-up with 40 health, forget about it. Like that, nope. Just the Pope of nope. It ain't happening.
Come on in, Varangard.
Yeah, nothing breaks that. Because that's insane.
Use all out assault. I dare you.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Oh, you're right. Sorry. The gnarl roots are I apologize. Yes, it's not on your home objective. Thank you. The +1 ward is only on the sides, but even the same. Yeah, you'd move them over here. That's the point. Yes.
Yep.
You're not going to crack that unit off when they get there and get powerful resurgence. Thank you. Sorry. Yes. It's heal for the Oakenbrow and ward for the there.
Yep.
Yes. It does require moving over there. Yep. It's such a strong ability. Powerful resurgence is just +1 to wound on the gnarl root objectives, which is fine.
Yep.
So that's about battle plans. Overall, I like the spread. I think the average number of objectives is 5, by the by. So it's pretty good. High
bodies.
You're gonna need bodies.
And you're gonna need mobility, and you're gonna need throwaway units.
Yep. I think that there's a lot of incentive and downward pressure between the battle tactics and the battle plans on not going hard in on just like small, efficient 2-drop heavy hammer stuff. I really do. I'll be interested to see if that plays out. Like, again, I'm just talking incentives and what I see here. Actual play on the table can vary.
Because if they get down and into your army,
right,
with that super killiness, they're gonna lift a bunch of MSU.
Yep.
Like, it'll just chew through that.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so that's one of the realities.
But I've played a couple Skaven armies that are spread pretty far. Okay. And I found on like the ones I played through that it's been pretty effective. Like it's been good at being able to get out there and get the gold, as it were. So, All right. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty excited for this GHP. I think we've got some gas here. I think we've got 10 tournament-worthy battle plans and 11 fun ones.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
That's how I would say that. So that's a good number. I think the battle tactics, I agree with you, will increase the diversity of list building. I think that they definitely are more fun as far as just like actual play experience. My God, they're so much more fun. For casual folks, for like casual on casual action, the new battle plan thing is going to be so much better. The new battle tactics are so much better. Because those people will get 1 or 2 deep. They'll do the affray and the strike. They mostly won't get the Dominion. It'll be a great time. It'll be like a great time. And it'll feel so stress-free. And like they're not doing weird things. You know, they'll be like getting gold and doing kill heroes.
Be like, what am I supposed to do? One of these 2 things or both of them every turn. Plus take objectives. Cool. Like, I can do that.
It got so much more enjoyable for the actual like casual game.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
So overall, there you go. New GHB, very exciting. Next week, we will be back. Well, I'll be back. Tom will be. I don't know what time the show is going to be next week, everybody. Let me warn you right now. The show next week is going to be crazy because I have to fly out of Newark Airport on Wednesday. So, assuming I don't get involved in some sort of horrible plane incident on the runway where flights are canceled a lot, it could end up being a random hotel show because I'm stuck at the Newark Hilton. That could happen. Okay. It could also end up being a very late show because my flight gets super delayed. All of these things are possible. Who knows? But I don't have a choice in the matter. This is what happens. So it'll probably be just me next week. I will talk through all the points and stuff. I may see if somebody's willing to be like super flexible.
Whoa. We'll see.
What? Okay.
We'll see.
That's fine. I'll ping you. I know you're keen to talk about a lot of the Battle Scroll stuff. But like, it's gonna be a weird one next week. So I apologize in advance. Could be a very late show. It's not my choice. It's just this is the cards life have dealt me, and I have to deal with that stuff. Yeah, pre-record it and have Tom answer. Yeah. Don't forget, Rain and Iron is out now. The link for all of that is below. Check it out. New game. If you want to use some of your demons and robots, hey, cool new skirmish game to check it out. And, very cheap too. Also, John and I's new RPG podcast launches Tuesday the 10th. Link is down there. Go give us a subscribe. We're going to be talking D&D. We're going to be talking role-playing games. We're going to be talking about things that we hate, things we love, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a good time. And then, of course, new Snarlcast is out. Check that out. And if you're going to be around TMX, I hope to see you there this weekend at the Tabletop Minions Expo in Oshkosh. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there's still a few seats available for the classes. So check all those out. And then all the normal stuff, links, affiliate links. Thank you for people who super chatted. Thank you for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it very much. Patreon, merch store, blah, 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 blah. Things. Spruik stuff. All right, Tom. Hey, buddy. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. We got through this. Go check out that podcast. We really would do want to see some people sub up. I know we haven't dropped an episode yet, but I promise you it's going to be good. We got some great stuff in the tank. We've already recorded a couple episodes, and they are bangers right out of the gate. So, at any rate, thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate it. And as always, at some time, we'll see you next Wednesday.